Hi there, good evening. Welcome to the MODUS Super Series, where Group B for this week is about to get underway. 5 players fighting for 3 places at finals night here on Saturday. And here is who's in action. Matthew Dennant is back in action tonight. The Scholar reached the semi-finals in the last series after progressing through Group B. Welshman David Davis has become a Super Series regular. He also made finals night in Series 4, and his precise play could help him achieve even greater things this time around. Fellow regular Lee Cox has had a range of results at the Live Lounge. Will he be celebrating come the end of the week this time around? Tom Lonsdale has impressed already this week. He's thrown some spectacular stuff and could be a dark horse in Group B. Yeah, and of course Kevin Edwards makes up the field of 5, a debutant here at the MODUS Super Series. And that can't be said of Matthew Edgar. He's part of the furniture now. But Matthew, it does look like a very good group, doesn't it?
It really does. Kevin Edwards coming in as a debutant, picking up a Seniors Tour title recently and really settling down on that scheme as well. But I think this is a night where we're going to see opportunity develop. It's a pretty open group, but we've also got Tom Lonsdale, who's looking for opportunity this week. I did have a chat with him on Monday when he first got here, and he said he's been trying to get to the Super Series for about a year now. He's here. He's got a chance to make a statement. He's already done that with 113 average. If he can get through this group as well, he's going to put himself into a position like David Davies is, who came in as a qualifier and ended up becoming a bit of a regular.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to preview this group a little bit more in a moment. But first of all, we need to reflect on what happened in Group C this afternoon. That's the halfway stage. The group gets back underway tomorrow, 1 p.m. on the MODUS Super Series YouTube channel, 3 p.m. on Sporty Stuff TV. And the big surprise maybe 4 wins for David Schlichting.
Yeah, he really turned it up. He really looked like he was enjoying himself this afternoon as well, which is obviously part of producing good darts, when you're just enjoying yourself and not worrying about the outcomes. And he's put himself in a really good position to get through. But Scott Taylor, got to be said, harshly treated. By far the standout player of the group. He lost a match with 104 average against a guy who's only picked up a handful of wins so far this week. Everyone played their best against him. And if he can just keep producing what he did today, I'd expect that he'll get through tomorrow. Yeah,
of course. The week didn't start today. It got underway on Monday, and we saw Rhys Robinson win Group A early this week. He's the first man through to the finals night here this week. So Robinson, I mean, we saw some fantastic stuff from Rhys. Let's just have a quick word on him, because I know people are waiting with bated breath to see him again on Saturday night.
I can't wait to see him with a microphone in his hand again. I think that's, for me, the bit that's really interesting about Rhys Robinson, the sort of bizarre nature of what he does. I was on commentary with Phil Bars, and I had to throw it to Phil. I kept saying, Phil, every time he did something crazy, I just felt I could not explain. And as a commentator, it's probably one of the hardest jobs to do, to try and explain what Rhys Robinson's up to, because he just does what he feels like.
Yeah, and he'll be doing what he feels like right now, because he's managed to get himself a couple of nights off, and he can watch the players in Group B battling it out to try and join him on Saturday. Look, Schlichting, Scott Taylor, the likes of those in Group C are almost there. But in terms of Group B, who do you think is amongst the contenders?
Well, I think Matt Dennant's going to cut away from this group. I think Matt Dennant is a class above what we've got in this group. And for me, I just don't understand how he doesn't have a tour card. I think he's a quality player. I really do. I like what I see. And I fully expect that at the end of the night, we'll be standing here and I'll be sort of asking the question, why has he not got a tour card? He's the sort of player that could go through this. So if I was in this group, I'd kind of ignore Matty Dennant, and I'd just look at those other 2 positions and think it's a 50% chance here, and you can make a case for everybody.
Well, let's see what the bookies think. Let's see who they're making a case for. Did you write these odds, Matthew? Matthew Dennant as the even money favourite. Kevin Edwards, they must see as a bit of an unknown quantity, but where do you see the value there?
Matt Dennant, even money. I think it's great value as well. And when we look at in the afternoon session tomorrow, we've got Scott Taylor at 2-1. I think they're your 2 group winners, and I think that's great value across the board if you're looking at having a play on those outrights. Get on this now today with Matty Dennant, because if he does do what I expect him to do, I think by tomorrow we're going to be talking unbackable odds.
But 3 players go through, so who else do you think might join him?
I can make a case for all the players, really, and even the debutants that are coming here, like Tom, when we look at what he did throughout his Group A campaign, he was nearly 50% on the doubles for Tuesday and Wednesday combined. So when he's getting down there, he's taking those opportunities. David Davies, someone we've seen here a couple of times before, so now he knows what to expect here, and he gets better every single time he comes down. Lee Cox, I expect Lee Cox to get through. If Lee Cox doesn't get through, I think he'll be mightily disappointed. I fully expect to see him on Saturday.
There we go. Well, let's have a look at tonight's bet builder for this evening's action, and there you can see it, just under 8-1, this compilation. Tom Lonsdale on the handicap against Edwards, minus 1.5, 11-10. Total 180s, 2 in that match as a minimum between Lonsdale and Cox, and then the same again, Cox versus Davis. Thoughts on that?
They're liking these 180 bets, aren't they, the punters? They're piling in on those. But this has been a week littered with 180s. We saw an incredible amount of 180s this afternoon in Group C. So they're just going with what's working in that formula. My personal opinion is just back Deadent to do good things. I think he's going to be in for a good show. Yeah, that is kind of the Matthew code, isn't it? Going for his namesake tonight. If you are going to have a bet, do so responsibly. It's begambleaware.org for more information on safer gambling. And, of course, 18 plus. The first fixture of tonight's 10 is a meeting between David Davis and Tom Lonsdale. And guiding you through it, it's this Matthew and Henry Deacon.
Thank you very much, Chris. A very good evening, everybody. Welcome along to our second session of the day here at the Super Series. Group B begins in earnest of a battle of England and Wales, and two players that have made their names courtesy of the ADC circuit. Tom Lonsdale comes here having won one of the Open Series titles in 2023. Whereas this man, David Davis, is becoming a bit of a regular, qualified through the ADC first time around and is now getting invitations on his own merits. We saw him earlier on in this phase, in week 1 nonetheless, and such has been his performances that the selectors of this competition have deemed him worthy enough of a second crack at the whip in this competition, in this particular series. As for Lonsdale, he's provided the highlight performance of the week, 113 in getting the better of Reece Robinson on Tuesday. And there's now a bit of expectation on his shoulders. It's fair to say that we saw glimpses, but we didn't quite know what to expect on the stage.
David to throw first.
We expect that man to be calling in the scores. That's our referee, Jack Garwood. But now there's a bit of expectation. But as far as the odds compilers are concerned, they can't split the pair. 5-6, each of 2.
96.
Which, if you back Tom Lonsdale to do what he did throughout the course of Group A, may well be handsome odds
100.
against a David Davies, who is coming into this particular match at least a little bit cold. Coming in from the cold of the balcony and into the warmth of the commentary box, it's a good day to Matthew Edgar.
85.
Good day.
Good day.
I was mentioning upon the balcony there with Chris Murphy that David Davies is a player that's been getting better and stronger every single time he's come down here. I do remember the very first week we had David Davies down here. He came in as an ADC qualifier, and his goal was just to get back here. And he's certainly done that. And Tom Lonsdale is a man that is trying to follow that same track. He's using David Davies as inspiration
140.
to see that that pathway is actually there. You come here as an ADC qualifier, you stand out, you show us what you can do, you come back.
And such is the evolution of David Davies, the fact that when he first turned up here at the Super Series, he was in a nice little polo shirt and all the rest of it. Probably something you could get from a department store. But now he's got his own branding, his own range. And I know you're a big fan of that.
David, you require 120.
I'm actually quite a fan of those flights as well. It looks like he's playing Tetris.
Looks like he's taken inspiration from today's Players Champion, Ryan Joyce.
54. Tom, you require 43.
This is a fine start here from Tom Lonsdale.
Game shot on the first leg.
Data.
Tom Lonsdale.
He's used his day well.
Second leg, it's Tom to throw first. Game on. $100.
We've seen the extraordinary from Tom Lonsdale when he put in that 113 average. One of 2 times he's broke the 90 average. He broke it again
59
yesterday, match number 2. But I just get that feeling from Tom that he's actually getting better day by day.
95.
And he's certainly a confident character. We've seen him go 13 ball, which I'm reliably informed. He will always go the ball when it is presented to him. Which I can imagine down the
100.
local doesn't go down too well with people.
Especially if you hit it. Bit of a spotter's nightmare, that one, though.
134.
But Lonsdale here has got out the gate incredibly well. The average at the minute is ticking over 108 as we head into the middle portion of this second leg.
100.
David Davis himself is ticking along at a okay rate, 86.75, but he's getting nothing back in response due to the sheer power scoring of this man.
95.
And if this is the first time you've tuned in and seen Tom Lonsdale and think, can he keep this pace up? He can. We've seen it before. We've seen it already. He's landed a monstrous average this week.
65. Tom, you require 77.
A weekly high of 113.73 against Reece Robinson. Tops are 2-0.
57.
That drags below, but he is going to come back because Davis can't leave himself on a finish after 12. Should be down for 19s here.
99. Tom, you require 20.
2 5s.
Game shot on the second
2-0
leg. Tom
to
Lonsdale.
Tom Lonsdale.
Third leg, it's David to throw first. Game on.
David Davis would have probably travelled down to Portsmouth today and looked at the lineup for this Group B and would have probably thought, ooh,
125.
opportunity. When you look at the players we have here at the Super Series, this isn't saying the players we've got here tonight are not good players. It's saying they're not the players that have the CVs and the pedigrees of some of the players we have, or some of the players we do get coming down here. Certainly for a Group B, when we look at that next week's lineup.
25.
And you compare the CVs, what they have achieved elsewhere. This is a group of developing
95.
players.
Well, it's just opportunity knocking, isn't it, for whoever's here? As you say, the reason why everybody would fancy is because everybody will feel they're an even match on paper. Maybe Matt Dennett being the standout name of the 5.
140.
Yeah, absolutely. He's a player who has gone on to do very good things in the biggest arenas.
99.
Mix it up with the best of them. Well, I think Lee Cox, Tom Lonsdale, Kevin Edwards and David Davies is all going to come down to the night. And so far,
99.
the night belongs to Tom Lonsdale.
Tom,
this
you
is a
require
fabulous start.
127.
He wants the Hinks for a 12-darter.
127
Game
and
shot on the third leg. Tom
and the
Lonsdale.
third leg to Tom Lonsdale. He said to me yesterday
Fourth
that he
leg,
wanted
it's
to
Tom to
do
throw
things
first.
that'll
Game
make
on.
himself memorable and give himself an invite back. That's a personal favourite of ours, Tom.
57.
Well, if he can pop another average over a ton, it will get the selectors meerkatting around this one. And it's not like David Davies is doing anything wrong here at the moment. He's averaging nearly 90, but he's just
88.
not getting down to a double. Tom Lonsdale is just bossing this game.
80.
Great recovery of the last start. Average pretty much straight on the ton. Davis 89, and he hasn't had a dart at a double yet. And effectively, the reason for that is, if I show you the score in Power Pack now, for everything David Davis is doing, Tom Lonsdale has seemingly had a score just
57.
a little bit bigger, just a little bit higher. No matter what he's been able to throw at Tom, he's not been able to surmount a crack.
101.
And maybe even in this leg, when he thought he had a bit of time
140.
and a bit of a luxury, Lonsdale finds himself first to a finish.
100. Tom, you require 167.
This would be some way to wrap up a fine performance for Tom Lonsdale, but you'd expect from 72 now David Davies is going to get a dart at the double, but it might only be the
72.
one, and it might only be the one opportunity. 20 for tops. Well, Lonsdale comes back for the match. Little shimmy to the right.
Game
Beautiful.
shot on the fourth leg, David Davies.
Fantastic darts there from David Davies. His first dart at the double, and it was under pressure. It was a match-saving shot, and he delivered.
But importantly, from his
it's David to throw
perspective,
first.
it's a breaker throw. He throws in
Game
the
on.
fifth to bring the deficit back to 3-2. Lonsdale just having a survey of the surroundings. I'm glad Dion Dublin isn't here. He'd be saying that there were stairs leading onto the stage.
100. $100.
Yes, I did drop a Homes Under the Hammer reference. Had a bit of spare time a couple of weeks ago.
$95.
When the first start lands like that,
140.
you expect a big score, and a big score found there with a 140 for Lonsdale.
It's impressive from both. David Davies,
77.
92.5, but very restricted to his opportunities because Tom Lonsdale is putting in one of the best performances we've seen from any player this
140.
week. Only bettered by his own.
And part of the issue here for David Davies is the fact that he plays game 3 against Matt Dennett. So if he comes on the wrong end of the scoreline here and loses that one, he may feel as if he's out of the equation and we not even got to the
137.
halfway point of the
Tom,
night.
you require 121.
The good thing about Group B is you're never really out of it. I've seen players lose 4 games from 4 on the
81.
opening day and still find a
David,
way
you
through.
require 92.
There's always opportunity in this group. It's key to, if you are to lose, get as many legs on the board as you can. It's another dart. It's that double 6.
80.
That might be the last one he throws
Tom, you require
in this
40.
game.
The reaction there says that he thinks it's the last one he's thrown. And he's
shot
right in
and the
saying
match,
so,
Tom
because
Lonsdale.
Tom Lonsdale has pulled out a superb performance to kickstart his night. An average of 102.62 and a 1-2-7 and game to get the better of David Davies by 4 legs to 1. And as you can see there on the left-hand side of your screen, David himself averaging 93, 50% on the doubles. He only got a couple of opportunities all told. But Tom Lonsdale off to a flying start. Next up for us is Kevin Edwards in action up against Lee Cox.
Welcome back. Game 2 about to get underway of tonight's 10 in Group B at the Super Series. Now, most of you who've watched us for a while will know plenty about Lee Cox. He's been a regular here at the Live Lounge, but you may not know about Kevin Edwards. That's because it's his debut here at the MODUS Super Series. But lucky for you, Henry Deacon caught up with Kevin a little earlier this evening.
Kevin, welcome back to the MODUS Super Series. Great to see you back here in Portsmouth. First of all, how much are you looking forward to this?
I'm really looking forward to this. First time I was obviously as nervous as anything. I had no expectations. I got picked up on saying that. So I think I've learned from my first one, and hopefully will have learned from that and do well this time.
Since we last saw you here at the Super Series, you've done some fantastic stuff on the World Seniors Tour, picked up one of those Open Series titles. 2023's been quite kind to you, Kevin.
It has, yes. To say it was a bit of a surprise was an understatement. I think it was just my day on that day. It's taken me almost a year to settle into the seniors. Now I have. I feel comfortable and producing some good darts.
You said you laid the expectations a bit low last time. Have they raised this time here at the Super Series?
They have, yeah. If you don't come here expecting to do well, then I don't think you will do well. So I'm expecting to do well.
What's doing well for Kevin Edwards?
What's doing well? Everything's doing well. Home life, family life, work life. I'm really enjoying my darts, and yeah, I really am enjoying it.
Well, we look forward to what you play, Kevin. Good luck.
Thanks, Henry. Thank you very much.
A man who's doing well, Kevin Edwards, in action here against Lee Cox in our second game of the evening session. There he is, Kevin Edwards, the 51-year-old from Great Bentley, two-time Challenge Tour finalist, and we can add a World Senior Tour Open Series title to that list against the county captain of London in Lee Cox. Crafty Coxie looking to get his way through to a Saturday night final for a second time here at the Super Series. He's had close shaves in the past. He's had strong Group A campaigns. But he knows as well that sometimes there's a little bit of disappointments in Group A have seeped over into his second group of the week. And that's something he's looking to change here. It's Edwards with the darts in his second game of the evening session.
And let's not just skim over the fact that he won a Seniors Tour title not
45.
too long ago. Let's look at the players he beat in that Seniors Tour. This wasn't an easy run, and he didn't go an easy ride. He was in some very tight games.
60.
Of which he produced some very good darts. One of them, Richie Houghton, who's been one of the faces of the Seniors Tour, reaching the World Final amongst many others
28.
on that Senior Tour. Mark McGeaney, a player who is coming right back into form and very nearly got back his PDC Tour card at the start of the year. Andy Jenkins,
125.
Paul Hogan, a UK Open legend, should we say, Paul Hogan, a player who's been down here playing some very good stuff and a recent semi-finalist on the
140.
Seniors Tour. And in the final, a 6-0 victory against another Super Series regular, Robert Rickwood, your favourite player.
100.
Easy for me to say. Put it this way, a game between him and Cam Crabtree would probably put me in all sorts of trouble.
100.
Don't you start on that. Put it this way, one of the people who work behind the scenes here has not stopped all week with that.
100.
Lee Cox has got off to a good start.
100. Lee require 116.
116 for a breaker throw in this opening leg. Will stay there because the treble would have left double 18. And so Edwards comes back for 88 to take this opening leg.
45. Kevin, you
And it
require
may well end
88.
up with just being the solitary dart of the bullseye. It may not be anything if he can't find a treble here. He can't recover with the second dart. And so Cox is back.
32. Lee requires
Leaving
71.
71 for an opening leg break. That's a treble 6. And that leaves double 18.
35.
That skims the wire.
Kevin, you require
that
56.
Presents another opportunity for Kevin.
46.
Who's
Lee require
unable
36.
to take advantage of the miss from Coxey, who loves it in this area of the
Game
board.
shot on the first
And
leg.
the
Lee
crafty
Cox.
Coxey squeezes it into the corner against the Seniors Tour player. And I've actually
Second
had
leg, it's Lee to
communications
throw
from
first.
another
Game
Seniors
on.
Tour player, Tom Riding, watching tonight. And he's actually hoping to see Lee Cox get through, but for
58.
selfish reasons. A London Super League game will be taking place next week. Welling A and Welling B. And he's going to have to go up against the crafty Coxey,
43.
and he's hoping that if he gets through, he might be too tired and he won't attend that Super League match. I've got a feeling Lee Cox will not be missing any matches. He's a guy who loves his darts.
97.
And I think he'd play darts 7 days a week if he could.
Did you say that was a Welling?
I believe so.
140.
That's the information I've been told. Welling A versus Welling B in the London Super League on Monday. Table-topping fixture.
Our former champion here, Conan White, is a big fan of the
100.
football team in that part of the world. Welling United of the National League South, the Wings, struggling a little bit this season.
I believe they're in the same team, actually.
81.
You want to rock up to that Super League team, would you?
Well, I believe they did actually win the National Championships.
100.
That's where all your Super League champions from all the counties get together and have a big event to see who's the Super League champions.
59.
And the winner of the Super
Lee
Leagues
require
playing the Super Leagues.
146.
And then they're playing the Super Series.
Super.
55.
Well, Edwards is just getting outscored a nudge here. He's had a couple of 140-plus turns, but Cox's ton-hitting power has just
85.
come a little bit up to
Lee
the boil
require
here.
91.
91 for a 2-0 lead. Just strayed the other side into the treble 11. The treble 14 would have left him a dart at double 16.
59. Kevin, you require
Got there in the
93.
end. Leaves the double 16. There is no shot on for Kevin Edwards.
23.
Lee Cox a chance to double his
Lee
lead and
requires
confirm
32.
that breaker throw.
Can he just nudge that off the barrel?
Game
Yes
shot on
is
the
the
second
answer.
leg. Lee
2-0
Cox.
Cox. Just want to get your take on that interview that Kevin Edwards gave
Third
to me
leg, it's
before
Kevin to throw first.
play got underway this
Game
evening.
on.
Very much playing himself down. And we were talking about that seniors title that he won a few weeks ago. And he said, well, I must have been lucky on the day.
108.
I don't know a single dart player, and I've been around darts for the majority of my life. I'm now 37.
95.
And I've never met a dart player who doesn't play down their chances. They always like to make it sound more difficult than it is. Certainly when there's a camera around.
Mind you, there's other players that have a
45.
camera poked in front of their face and they go and do some weird things like bow when they hit a 180. Do you know anyone like that?
Standard.
60.
You put me in the Series 3 end of Series blooper reel for trying to reenact that.
45.
To be honest, I kind of put it upon myself. But Cox is putting it upon himself here.
123.
Another big scoring visit. He's just giving Kevin Edwards a few worries on throw.
59.
And now has 6 for the double break.
$45.
But he's let the opportunity pass him by, and so the parcel gets passed back to Kevin Edwards.
$132.
Nice hit. Leaves himself on tops after 15. It's a solid enough leg, and it's more than enough. If he is to wrap
80.
this leg up, all he needs to do
Kevin,
is
you
find the
require
required
40.
double.
Tots for Edwards. Now double 10. 5s.
Game shot on
Found
the
in the
third
end.
leg, Kevin Edwards.
That miss on the inside of double 10 there, meaning he needed to find that double 5 last start in hand, and he
Fourth leg,
duly
it's Lee to
obliged.
throw first.
And
Game
so
on.
Cox has his deficit reduced in half.
And we just got a little sight there of
100.
the darts of Kevin Edwards. When you see it from that side angle, you just get to see how peculiar they are. They're not like a straight barrel. They've got like a bulbous nose.
96.
Where a lot of people now prefer a more tapered nose, so it aids the grouping. This is sort of like a double
100.
scalloped sort of dart. Well, you see there with Lee Cox, a much more straighter and then tapering into the point from the nose. You see there, it's actually quite bulbous.
140.
Reminds me a lot of Gary Stone's setup. Not to that kind of extreme, but
It certainly aids him in changing the angle of entry of the dart.
97.
You could see there again from that side angle how the dart actually goes in quite flat.
$95.
What a difference a leg makes, eh? Kevin Edwards gets his first leg on the board, and now he's
60.
motoring.
Kevin, you require 170.
well, I've already seen the fish netted once today. Are we going to get it reeled in once more? The bullseye for Edwards.
123. Lee, you require 144.
Another one of them. Just underneath the wire. Has a double check. He's hoping that it's moved, but it's not going to move.
96. Kevin, you require 47.
Misfire of the first
Game shot
meant
on
he
the
had to
fourth
spurn
leg,
another
Kevin
dart
Edwards.
to then find the double 16, which he duly does. And from 2-0 up, Lee Cox has had his lead evaporated.
Fifth leg, it's
Edwards
Kevin
is
to
back
throw
level.
first.
And for the
Game
first time
on.
tonight, Matt, we can say it's Desmond, 2-2.
I think we are going to see a lot of legs played tonight. I think that would be the safest market to go with.
140.
And because that angle of entry there for Kevin Edwards, you can see how it benefits when he goes just underneath. Remember, Sid Waddell used to talk all the time about the Phil
140.
Taylor stacker darts. That'd be very similar here in what we're seeing with Kevin Edwards, where he just wants it on that bottom wire. It's a little bit too high in the bed there for him,
137.
but a lovely switch.
Is it fair to say the art of stacking's a bit of a lost art within the sport?
It is, because
60.
it changes the flight of the dart through the air. You don't quite get a full natural arc. And some people just don't like seeing that little twitch, that little movement of the dart in the air. It does
54.
also, like we're seeing here, when you get that dart above, completely block up the treble, which means you need to utilise the board a lot more. But he did try to utilise this section of the board not
140.
too long ago for the
Kevin, you
170.
require
Not
170.
the two treble 20s. He will not be repeating the feat. And here's the problem with the flat dart. You see how that one bounced off? And
60.
again, bounced off
Lee,
and
you
went
require
high.
161.
It has to be low, that first dart, or else he blocks it up.
You know, Bottenberg hit one of them early one this
97.
afternoon. Cox can't do one
Kevin,
in
you require
kind.
110.
110 for Edwards to put his nose in front at 3-2. Remember, he had trailed by 2-0, and that double
80.
15 would have put him in front for the first
Lee,
time.
you require 64.
16's corridor means another one of them leads the requisite double.
32.
Big
Kevin, you
moments.
require 30.
Which way is the pendulum going to swing? It's one dart, a double 4. It's one
26.
dart that moves inside.
Lee
And Cox
requires
comes back
32.
for free at 32. To
Game
lead
shot on the fifth
3-2.
leg, Lee Cox.
And maybe a bit of a sigh of relief as he breaks in the fifth and now has the throw for the match when Kevin Edwards was knocking at the
Sixth
door,
leg, it's
turning
Lee
this
to
game
throw
on its
first.
head.
Game on. $140.
He's got his nose back in front. But for how long?
140.
This one hotting up in the business end of the match.
60.
Is the one thing maybe we can label at Lee is the fact that we don't see him switch as much as perhaps he should.
There'll be no switch here. That's a beautiful first art from Kevin Edwards.
140.
Case in point. Just on the bottom wire, 2 on top. I do believe I'm probably the perfect person to describe this because I did actually at one point get flights and cut them down with scissors to get this exact angle of entry that we're seeing with Kevin Edwards.
Was that the time you hit a 170 to beat Gary
140.
Anderson?
Nah, different time. But it's also a true story. I did beat Gary Anderson with a 170 finish.
60.
That's a pound in the jar.
Kevin, you require 81.
Might be some legs on the board here for Kevin Edwards. A possible 11 darter.
Game shot on a sick
Brilliant
flag.
leg of
Kevin
darts
Edwards.
there, Kevin Edwards. Lee Cox took him to the brink of defeat. And then 3 140s, 81 out in 2. Fabulous
Seventh and
starts there
final
from Kevin
leg. It's
Edwards.
Kevin to throw first.
And we go all the way,
Game
and
on.
Kevin Edwards does have the advantage of throwing first. Does make you think.
81.
16-1, biggest outsider of the group here, Kevin Edwards, might be a bit of a misprice.
100.
Remember, he's got form in winning titles. He won an Open Series event a couple of weeks ago, and they're tough competitions to win.
42.
Now, what can he see of the treble bit
100.
enough to crowbar in a treble with his last? Just nicking the advantage after 6.
45.
Very much in the ascendancy now. Kevin Edwards has kept clawing back at Lee Cox. But every single time that he's got back to a level, Cox has been able to surmount
85.
something.
And that wasn't a bad dart from Lee Cox. He's just got an absolutely horrendous deflection off the back of the flight. But what a awful time for it to happen. He could have lost it.
60.
It could have been a no score. It could have been a 1. So actually the fact it's gone in an 18 is quite a fortunate mishap.
Especially now,
100.
because that leaves him on 116 for the match. Edwards quite simply needs a ton 40, and that's just to keep him in and amongst the contention.
90.
And so 6 for the
Lee
match here
require
for Lee Cox.
116.
He's going to need them. Gets to pick his double. Chooses the
84.
16s. Knows whatever Kevin does now, he can start his process because he will be coming back. 3 darts in hand for double 16 regardless.
100. Lee require 32.
For 4-3 win.
Game shot.
Cox
on
is
the
out the
match.
blocks
Lee
with a
Cox.
win. A 4-3 victory against Kevin Edwards gets his campaign underway. For Edwards, he kept chipping away at Lee, but when it came to the crunch, Lee just had a little bit too much. An 84-74 average, and well, the difference there lays in the checkout percentages. 4 from 8 for Lee, 3 from 11 as far as Kevin was concerned. That 81 there was for an 11 dart leg for Kevin Edwards. Coming up after the break, the man who's the favourite to win this group, and quite convincingly so, Matt Denon is in action, taking on David Davies.
Every Saturday, we open our doors for our weekly finals night.
For a unique and intimate darts experience.
Meet the Dart Stars and even the team off the telly
Here at our purpose-built venue in Portsmouth.
every single Saturday evening.
Tickets can be booked via this QR code
Or at www.dartshop.tv for a very small booking fee.
Follow us at MSS Darts on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram and TikTok.
For all the latest ticketing news.
All you need to do, log on, book, turn up, and the action gets underway from 7:30 p.m.
So what are you waiting for?
Get your tickets to the darts.
We look forward to welcoming you to the MODUS Super Series very soon.
Yeah, do indeed heed the good advice of my colleagues here at the Super Series and get yourselves down to a finals night. There are some really special ones coming up, including Champions Week in a couple of weeks' time, when actually there is going to be a bit of an after party as well for those who do have tickets. So come and join us for that. Coming next here, though, trying to get to finals night, it's David Davies, who lost his opening match. And out for the first time this evening, the group favourite, that man there, Matt Dennant, talking you through it. Matthew Edgar and Henry Deacon.
Thank you, Murph. The 32-year-old from Walsall, Matty Dennant, the even money favourite to win this, a multiple-time PDC Challenge Tour champion, and a man who still surprises me to this day as to why he does not currently hold a PDC Tour card. He's taking on David Davies, someone who we have seen already tonight. He opened his campaign quite well. It was a good performance, a 93.21 the average, but he did go down to an inspired Tom Lonsdale. Got it all to do here against the Scholar.
First leg, it's Matt to throw first. Game on.
Who has a sizable amount of support watching him tonight from his hometown. We've had interactions on X.
108!
His dad Gary and all the lads down at the Nut are going to be tuning in tonight, and they'll be more than happy with what they're seeing so far. 3 darts in.
97.
Perfection.
But can you keep up this perfect streak? There's number 4. There's number 5.
139.
But the 6th dart goes a-begging.
And David Davies is probably thinking, what have I done today to deserve this?
96.
Oh, if this happened to me, I'd be in the corner crying by now.
140.
I'd have just gone home, I think, by this point. I just thought, yeah, it's not my day. Everyone's going to hit silly things against me here.
43.
Possible 11 dart opener here from Matt Dennant.
42.
And when you big someone up and they come and deliver like
Game
this,
shot on the first leg, Matt Dennant.
shows why that was great value there at the even money shout.
As Adam and the
Second
Ants
leg,
would
it's
say,
David to throw
stand and
first.
deliver, and that's exactly what Dennant
Game
did
on.
in that opener. And when you're in the position that that man is in, that first game, especially when you play last, you want to put down a little bit of a marker, a little bit of a statement to the rest of the field.
78.
And stake your claim as to why you are the one that everybody is trying to track and chase down.
100.
He's a really funny character as well as Matt. Shared many of practice rooms with Matty Dennant. And
58.
he doesn't say a lot. He's not one of these that will just waste jokes. But when they come out, they always land.
60.
Very witty character, him and Scotty Baker.
You could learn a thing or two from them then.
Has we got that tumbleweed or something around here somewhere?
60.
Good bants.
140.
140 here for Dennant. Has put him in cruise control against the Davis darts. In terms of what the odds compiler said at the beginning, they had Denon as a heavy favourite at 2-5, Davies
45.
the outsider at 7-4, and at the minute they're completely correct in their assessment. Denon here looking to find the break of throw in the second leg.
98.
And he's left himself 103 after 12, and Davies, a visit behind, needs to find something big just to catch up.
140.
Nearly the biggest
Matt,
of
you
them
require
all.
103.
This is well within Matty Denon range.
Game shot on the second leg, Matt Denon.
This is a fabulous start from Matty Denon. An 11 darter, a 15 darter, just 26 darts
Third
used
leg,
to
it's
take
Matt
a
to
2-0
throw
lead
first.
over David
Game
Davies, who just, I think the facials tell you everything you need to know at the moment about how he's feeling.
57.
He'd come into this group thinking this is a group of opportunity. This is a chance to get through to Saturday. And in his opening game, Tom Lonsdale hits 102 average
100.
against him. Then he comes up against Matty Denon, who's running at 109.
96.
But if you're David, you've got to think, right, just stick with the title. If you carry on playing at the
100.
levels, especially you did in that first game, you're going to afford yourself opportunities. You could actually argue that he's played his two possibly toughest games straight out the back tonight.
100.
And that the final two against Cox and Edwards would be the ones which would, on paper, herald the most joy for him.
60.
I don't think there's anyone in this group other than Matty Denon that you look at and think they're different to the others. I think they are so evenly matched. It'll just come down to who plays well at the
100.
individual times. But Matty Denon staking the claim, showing why he's the favourite. And sometimes that brings its own pressure. Sometimes it's a bit
100.
harder to go into
Matt, you
an
require
event as favourite. We all like to be
148.
the underdog. We all like to overestimate everybody else's chances.
$88.
Well, this would be
David,
some
you
way
require
to
141.
kickstart your night into life if he can find a 141. It's not going to happen on this occasion, and so Denon back on 60 for a 3-0 lead.
105. Matt, you require 60.
Average 105.5 at this present moment in time.
50.
But the double 10 goes inside, and David
David,
Davies
you
gets an
require
opportunity
36.
that he's warranted because of his level of play this evening. But double 1 leaves double 17. The least utilised double on a dartboard is
2.
not found. And having created the
Matt, you
opportunity, he
require
couldn't
10.
take it, and so Denon comes back for 3-0.
$5.
And when I posed that question
David,
at the start of the show,
you
I
require
wonder why
34.
Matt Denon doesn't have a tour card so far. Maybe we're seeing why the inability to completely front run and dominate this game when the opportunity presented itself. But that is another slip from David Davies, and he can't do anything from here. He's got to burn the dart and give Matty Denon
18.
the opportunity
Matt,
to
you
take that
require
3-0 lead.
5.
Well, let's get this right. David Davies is now officially in Shredsville.
No score.
But
David, you
Denon's
require
his bust.
16.
He's
Getting
now
shot
been
on the
afforded
third
crates
leg.
of
David
opportunities,
Davies.
and this time he doesn't pass it by. Back it goes to 2-1, and importantly as well, that's a break of throw for David Davies.
Fourth leg, it's David to throw first. Game on.
Shake of the head in the background, and the look of sorrow from Matt Denon. He doesn't want to look in front of him.
125.
He didn't look up until literally the time to actually throw the darts. The head was down the whole way. A very negative
50.
body language. Body language changes everything in terms of how we feel. Testosterone levels can be changed
85.
just by adopting certain stances.
David, who will be watched
99.
on and supported by his partner Claire. Usually is in Portsmouth to support David. I don't know whether that's the case this time around, but
58.
is a vociferous supporter of David.
$121.
First time he was here, he had a mini pool competition with Barry Bates, and apparently Barry's quite handy on the table.
63. $140. David, you require 170.
Hey, fishy, fishy. There is no fishy, fishy.
134. Matt, you require
Fantastic setup, though.
91.
But will it be in vain?
59.
One
David, you
more
require
dart.
36.
Sails past for Matty Dennant. David Davies, a chance to level this up, and after the first two opening legs, you would not have expected this situation, the way Matty Dennant was just running away with it.
18.
But you've got to take those chances when they present
Matt, you
themselves.
require 32.
Those three darts could be red pen moments. They could be
Game
moments
shot on
we're
the fourth
talking about
leg, Matt
at the end of the
Dennant.
game as the point that this game turned in the favour of Matty Dennant.
And you could tell from his reaction as soon
Fifth
as he
leg,
missed
it's
that
Matt to
last
throw
dart
first. Game on.
inside of the double 18. He knew that that was probably the moment that if Dennant can find that leg-winning double, which he did,
60.
that's possibly the moment where the match got away from him. But it's only a 60 start for Dennant. It's most certainly punishable. A 140 and he takes the darts in this fifth leg.
121.
Advantage Davies after the first round of throws.
100.
And coming up after this, we're going to see the return on the man who's hit the highest average of the night so far. Tom Lonsdale had a 102.62 in his opening win against Kevin Edwards.
32.
Against David Davies, shall I say. He returns to face Kevin Edwards next up.
$140.
Great visit. Halving the score and leaving himself first on a finish, but Dennant
139.
is going to keep
David, you
himself
require
close company, setting up
140.
well to leave the fish. And he's going to get a go at reeling it in to win the match.
And fantastic
60.
counting there from Matty Dennant to be
Matt,
able
you
to set
require
himself up for this
170.
170. Great utilisation of the dartboard. Guess that's why they call him
96.
the Scholar.
David, you require 80.
It's going to have to be 25 and bull. The bull, and that's set up Plumley. Oh,
Game
yes.
shot on the fifth leg.
And
David
Davies is
Davies.
still in it. Great recovery from the Welshman. The first one was set up Plumley, and the second one was Joanna Plumley. Back to 3-2.
Sixth leg, it's David to throw first. Game on.
That is the look of a man who knows he's still in a match and knows that his opponent is growing into the match as well.
140.
I would go even further and say that's a man who knows he's in a match that feels he should have had it done by now. He's in a match
100.
that in his own mind was the points.
140.
Well, the story of this game is changing before our eyes. David Davies at 2-0 down when Matt Dennett was throwing haymaker punch after haymaker punch. Looked like he was just there as a mere spectator. We were asking for the money at the door, but now is in command of this sixth leg. Okay, he's going to have to break Dennett in the seventh if we go there, but he now, you would say, on the current trajectory of play, is the favourite for this darts match, and you would not have said that about 5 minutes ago.
99. David, you require 121.
121 to send us all the way.
We have been in this situation
Matt,
before.
you require 167.
When David Davies was trying to level it up, he wasn't able to convert, but Matty Dennett could.
120.
Very
David,
low.
you require 68.
Drag down the dart. It's only going to be one for David Davies to save his skin, to take us to a deciding leg.
Game shot on the sixth flag, David Davies.
But he only needed the one. Clutch last dart from Davies to send us all the way. Dennett has the darts in the decider.
Seventh and
He
final
feels
leg.
he shouldn't
It's
be on
Matt
the
to throw
stage. He should be
first.
walking off with
Game on.
2 points in his pocket. That man has dug in. He's had a barrage thrown at him tonight, David Davies. And just when he thought his luck was
140.
turning and changing, Dennett kicks off this last leg with a 140.
You just got to hang in there in this situation and just hope that the mistake comes.
78.
Big last start. Without a treble there, Matty Dennett would have had a free roll shot.
60.
Could do with a couple of trebles here, Davies. 140, you'd say that legs about level, and it'd be all
100.
about the advantage of throw that Dennett heralds.
And this
40.
is frustrating when you kick off with a 140 with the darts, then you go 6 darts without a treble. You just get frustrated because you think, I'm inviting him in here. And you're inviting him in with just 1 treble shots, which David Davies continues to find.
68.
When that first dart hits the treble bed like that,
180.
only one outcome is likely, and it's that, a max. And now he's in command of the match.
The opportunity slightly
41.
presented itself for David Davies,
Matt, you
but he wasn't
require
able to
81.
provide the damage. For Matty Dennett to finally get the job done. Didn't have to go for the 12 and ball, just sets it
49.
up for his preferred double, the double 16, to get his first 2 points on the board for his Group B campaign.
He's had to work harder for these 2 points than perhaps he would have expected early
42. Matt,
And
you
now he's
require
got 6.
32.
on. From double 16 to complete the job and
Game
to get
shot
himself
on the match.
on the board.
Matt
And the
Dennett.
favourite to win this group has got his campaign up and running. As for David Davies, 2 games, 2 defeats, and he's ran into 2 good performances so far. Matt Dennett came out the blocks flying. He did just tail off a little bit towards the end, but a 92-21 average was enough to get over the line. David Davies, he worked his way back into the match, but he couldn't quite find much in the last leg decider. Dennett a 4-3 victor. Coming up after the break, our 4th game of the evening sees Tom Lonsdale on the back of his 102 average take on Kevin Edwards.
Welcome back to the MODUS Super Series, where the fourth game of Group B is about to get underway, and it features Kevin Edwards, a man who we have actually seen before, despite what I might have said earlier, but we all make mistakes, don't we? Tom Lonsdale didn't make many mistakes in his opening match tonight, a 4-1 success against David Davis. He's produced some really good stuff this week, including that brilliant 113 average. Can he reproduce that kind of thing? Or can Kevin Edwards get his first win tonight after that 4-3 defeat to Lee Cox earlier? Let's find out. Back to Henry and Matthew.
Thanks, Chris. At least you're getting the names right, though, tonight. Anyway, next up for us, Kevin Edwards up against Tom Lonsdale. And Tom, well, he got out the gates flying, didn't he? Averaged 102.62. Treated us to the 1-2-7 in game against David Davies. As for Kevin
First
Edwards,
leg,
that
it's
was
Tom to throw first.
How would you assess that
Game
performance?
on.
Because there was moments there, but when it came to the crunch, nothing really quite fell for him.
100.
I think tonight's not about what's happened before. I think it's all about what's happening in front of us all the time, really, because I think we've got such a level, evenly matched group that every game's going to have its own unique story. And
95.
that'll just come down to the perception of the players when they play in each other, or the paces in which they play the game.
58.
As far as the odds compilers lay their odds, Tom Lonsdale's now the 4-7 favourite.
100.
Kevin Edwards 5-4. The bookies are reacting accordingly to that opening performance from Tom.
99. 140.
I actually bumped into Tom in the corridor
100.
between games. And he said, I could do it every now and then. But it's come out
98.
again in this one, leaving himself
Tom,
a finish
require
after 12. But
144.
his throw's under severe pressure. And Edwards is going to get a go at this 68 to break the throw in the opening leg.
29. Kevin, you require 68.
And he's got 2 at double 4. Only needs the
shot on the
one.
first
14
leg,
dart
Kevin
to
Edwards.
start for Kevin Edwards. Breaking the throw with Tom Lonsdale to open up a 1-0 lead.
Second leg, it's Kevin to throw first. Game on. 60.
And that first visit there summed up what you mean by the Kevin Edwards stack approach and how that
58.
first dart laying above is awful for him.
Yeah, it does sometimes have a benefit, but again,
38.
just almost acts like a barrier when it sits above the treble.
Well, this is the action
140.
of Tom Lonsdale, and I've been racking my brains all week thinking, this reminds me of someone, this reminds me of someone. And it feels very Ryan Finessy.
60.
I think if you like your lookalikes, it's Jamie Lewis.
134.
Former PDC World Championship semi-finalist.
60.
Has played here at the Super Series before, has Jamie Lewis. That was back last year.
82.
He actually qualified for the Saturday night in Series 1, Week 5. Back in August of 2022.
45. Tom,
Was
you
down in the group
require
alongside
87.
Robert Wickwood. Lee Evans won that particular night, in matter of fact.
He wasn't
35.
joking around, was he?
$125. Tom, you require 52.
To level up. Double 16.
Game shot on the
Back
second
we are,
leg.
one
Tom
apiece.
Lonsdale.
Lonsdale breaks back.
Third leg, it's Tom to throw first. Game on. $60.
And everything about Tom Lonsdale is quick. There's nothing slow about him. There's nothing bad about that visit. And have a look at that. As soon as Kevin Edwards is in position to retrieve his darts, he's straight up at the hockey. He's ready to go. That's all within the eyes of the law. Have a look at this, Matt. He is quick to his mark.
45.
By the time he's even retrieved the darts on the board, he is set to throw his first.
180.
It's almost like trying to force the issue. It's almost like hockey bullying. It's like, I'm ready to throw, get out me way. Like it.
125. Tom, you require 121.
Well, this leg could be done quite quickly and all. Can't find the 1-2-1 this time, and he's
81.
banking on Edwards not to find
Kevin,
something
you require
big.
151.
But the 151 was a possibility until that point.
91. Tom, you require 40. No score.
But Chancellor Edwards,
Kevin, you
Lonsdale's
require
fluffed his
60.
lines. Lays it flat, and that means it's a perfect guide for tops. Just drags below.
50.
And double 10 moves inside.
Tom, you require
And it's past the
40.
parcel time again.
Game shot on the third leg. Tom Lonsdale.
But Lonsdale doesn't need a second invitation to the Tungsten Rodeo. These two wonders, Lonsdale against Kevin Edwards in this fourth
leg,
game of the
it's Kevin
evening.
to throw first. Game on. $100.
We saw a debutant this afternoon in David Schlichting really sort of grow into the experience after a Group A campaign, and he sat top of the table overnight in that Group C campaign.
137.
And it looks like we're getting the same here from Tom Lonsdale, as it appears we're getting a much more consistent version of him than what we
58.
saw in his Group A campaign.
I just wonder whether this week will be a turning point for Tom Lonsdale. Be maybe the eureka
54.
moment for him. Maybe the week where he realises he's won an ADC Open Series. He beat Luke Littler in that final, but possibly he looks at things like Q
100.
School. He looks at other things and thinks, do you know what? Maybe there's an opening for me to take this game a bit more seriously. Maybe there's an opening for me to do some great things in the sport on a more national than
100.
here at the Super Series international level.
Well, he does have plans to attend Q School for the first time, and we expect to see him in that
60.
lineup in January.
Kevin, you require 110. $54. $58.
This
Kevin,
full
you
level game
require
at 2
56.
apiece. But the big number's been missed, and so he's going to have to spurn a dart to get himself to double 16.
40.
Doesn't go.
Tom, you require 125. $95. Jack, 93.
This time,
Kevin, you require
it's
16.
got a little bit more urgency on the matter. This has to shuffle across the hockey.
Game shot on the fourth leg. Kevin
This
Edwards.
came in off the flight. That was in off the post there for Kevin Edwards, but he won't care. It's in. That's the only thing that matters. We've got a
Fifth
level
leg,
game.
it's Tom to throw first. Game on.
Stanchion dart.
140.
Off the post and in. That had a little bit of swaz on it.
Almost felt like a classic Tony Yeboah goal. Do you remember that one, or are you too young for the Tony
Oh,
Yeboah?
no. I know Tony Yeboah.
135.
What a Ellen Road against Liverpool, didn't it? He won goal of the season, but did it win Premier League
60.
goal of the decade? Or was it David Beckham's strike against Wimbledon?
There's me asking if you remember it and you know more about it than me.
140.
Spent many of hours in the playground at school trying to recreate the Tony Yeboah.
To be fair, when I was at school, it was
100.
always Gerard.
45.
I was always putting goal. That was all I was good for. Always last pick I was, perhaps not a surprise.
127.
I've actually just had a WhatsApp message. Mikel Essien, what a player he was back in his day.
65.
74
Tom, you
for Tom
require
Lonsdale
74.
for 3-2 lead. 20 for Tops. Only had a small
34.
portion of the bed to aim for because
Kevin,
his
you
dart stood
require
up to attention in the
160.
middle of the bed. On his tippy toes just to double check that was
60.
in.
Tom, you require 40.
Top of the shot for Tom Lonsdale.
Game shot on the 5th leg. Tom Lonsdale.
Fine adjustment there for Tom Lonsdale to re-establish an advantage. One more leg.
6th
He'll
leg.
be
It's
on
Kevin
4
to throw
points.
first. Game on.
I don't know what adjusted better, the darts of Tom Lonsdale or the camera angle.
Beautiful camera angle. That I do love watching the darts on that
135.
side sort of shot. To really appreciate the angle of entry of the dart.
139. 140.
Part of the new range of camera angles we bring to you here at the Super Series. It's
60. 100.
That's one of the bits that we love as well. We'll give you at times during the broadcast, if you are new to us here, we'll give you the way the darts go in overhead and by the side.
162. Kevin, you
The
require
darts we're looking at here are the darts that
126.
send us all the way again.
And that takes the finish off, so it's purely just set up here. But with Tom Lonsdale back on 140,
43.
Kevin Edwards would be expecting
Tom, you
to come
require
back.
140.
There's no guarantees. There is now.
100. Kevin, you require 83.
To take us to a last leg decider. 16. Leaves the ball. And now Lonsdale's back for 2 wins
52.
and 2.
Tom, you require 40. Game shot under match.
And Tops is
Tom
fouled by
Lonsdale.
Tom Lonsdale for 13 dart leg to get the better of Kevin Edwards. Lonsdale's putting the boot in on the rest of the opposition here in Group B. That's the tail of the tape, an 88 average enough in the end. 4 out of 10 on the finishing, 52 high out. Kevin Edwards, well, it's 2 defeats on 2 to kickstart his night. Him and David Davids are rooted now smack bang to the bottom of the table. And one of Lee Cox and Matt Denon is going to keep Tom Lonsdale company on 4 points when they go toe-to-toe after this short break.
Welcome back. So 2 wins from 2 for Tom Lonsdale, but he will be looking over his shoulder at this darting duo. Both Matt Dennant and Lee Cox won their opening matches at the Super Series tonight. And whoever wins this will join Lonsdale with a perfect start, winning both of their games to kick off proceedings in Group B. So let's get the action underway for this Cox-Dennant darting duel in the company of Henry Deacon and Matthew Edgar.
Cheers, Murph. Here we are, halfway house for our evening session here at the Super Series. And at the halfway point, we know we're going to have 2 players tied at the top on 4 points. But which 2 players is it going to be? We know it's going to be Lonsdale. The identity of the other is going to be found out here. And as for Kevin Edwards and David Davies, well, they're both going to need strong ends to their particular evenings if they're going to keep themselves in contention. They face off in the game that follows this one. And that hopefully keeps you some order as to what is happening here this evening.
First.
It's Cox with the darts in this opening leg. The bookies have him as the even money outsider. Matt Dennant is the 8-11 on favourite. And Crafty Coxey kicking off with a 2 treble visit. Is it as simple as if Matt Dennant does what Matt Dennant does, he wins?
101.
If Matt Dennant plays his A game, yes. But Lee Cox is more than capable of beating Matty Dennant, so Matty Dennant's going to have to be on his toes here.
$54.
Depends which Matty Dennant we got. We already had 2 versions of him tonight already. The version that opened the game against David Davies and the version that stumbled 95. Over the line.
Well, Cox has got out the blocks on all cylinders here, leaving 141 after 9.
140. Lee require 140.
And he's got acres of time to take out this opening leg. He is going to need the full allotment.
89.
Dennant praying for 140 here, not going to come.
100. Lee require 52.
Potential 14 incoming here. Double 7, he's double 9. And that's 43. A bit of a mess.
Well, it was
Matt,
the 14, double
106.
7. He's already took out a 103 so far tonight, Matty Dennant. Did get a dart at double 18, but first of all, he's got to retrieve it from the floor. Normally, when people pick them up off the floor,
88.
It's on the hit.
Lee require 9.
Otherwise known as the Gezi Price mentality as Cox goes for double 4. And now down for 2s.
Game shot
they
on the
never
first
lose.
leg. Lee Cox.
And it puts Cox 1 up.
Second leg, it's Matt to throw first.
In terms of his Group A stats, Lee, an average over 3 days of 83.66 and 31.72% when it came to the doubling. And his best attribute over those 3 days was taking advantage of any opportunity 98. That came his way.
One thing I do like about the Lee Cox game is it doesn't seem like he has a set go-to routine. As we see on the 52 there, he actually went for 20 for double 16. But on other shots, he'll try and leave himself tops and 18s. It just seems to be one of those players 60. That will just play on the moment and what feels right at that period of time rather than just trying to force through a set game plan.
100.
Cannon's in a treble with his last start off the barrel of the first.
100.
Remember, Champions Week is just a few weeks away
99.
now. We're edging towards the red carpet occasion here at the Super Series in Series 5. The cast list, which currently 60. Includes 10 names. We'll
Matt,
go through them in just a second. But Dennant here, 6 darts and 160. Another treble would have left himself tops. And that cast
100.
list of names Matt Clark, Darryl Pilgrim, Morena Michels, Conan Whitehead, Anton Ersland, Robert Grundy, Andreas Harrison, Chris Quantott, Sebastian Białecki,
65.
Jim
Matt, you
McEwen.
require
Darryl
60.
Pilgrim's going to go off heavy favourite for that. Dennant heavy favourite to win this leg. Double 10.
Game shot on the second
Found.
leg. Matt
1-1.
Dennant. Third leg, it's Lee to throw first. Game on.
Darryl Pilgrim is the standout name now in that Champions Week lineup. Some competition here this week that could rattle a few cages.
It was interesting when we were up on the balcony earlier on this week. We were talking about the Champions Week that was to come, and you said as soon as Luke Littler was eliminated from the competition, you had Darryl Pilgrim as the man who possibly has this competition to lose. That's how heavy a favourite he's going to be.
And dare I say that Champions Week will be the last time we see Darryl Pilgrim.
100.
If you're wondering why that is, it's because I think he's probably one of the likely runners and riders to go pick up a PDC
60.
Tour card, which means he would no longer be eligible to come here at the Super Series.
100.
A lot of people are tipping up the chances of Conan Whitehead, though, in the mix.
57. Lee require 156.
There you go. There's a tattoo of Conan on the darts of Lee Cox.
85.
Maybe he's a big fan of the Barbarian.
Or maybe he's a big fan of the Whitehead.
140. Lee requires 71.
For a 2-1 lead, treble 13, Lee's double 16.
Game shot on
Found
the
with a
third
plum,
leg, Lee
2-1 to
Cox.
Cox. And currently it's he who is
Fourth
at
leg,
the
it's
halfway
Matt to
house
throw
towards
first.
4 points.
Game on. $100. $83. $140.
Well, Martin Dennant's doing his part here when it comes to holding his throat. He nearly played his part in darting history a few years back at Q School.
140.
Had multiple match darts to stop Glenn Durrant from getting a PDC Tour card, and we know what happened to Glenn Durrant after that.
140.
He went on to win a Pro Tour, had that very good run at the World Match Play, meeting Michael van Gerwen along the way, and
60.
capped it off with a
Matt,
Premier
you
League
require
title that he
121.
doesn't often talk about.
I was going to say, has he told you about that story?
65.
Matt Dennant looking to level this game up at 2 apiece, but Cox is giving as good as he can get.
Matt, you
Maximum
require
there, leaves
56.
himself on a double. And Dennant misses the big number. It's only going to be one at double
Game
16.
shot on the fourth
He only
flag, Matt
needs the
Dennant.
one at double 16 to level this game up at 2 apiece. A nice sign of
Fifth leg,
respect
it's Lee to
there
throw
from Lee
first.
Cox.
Game on.
He's what they'd call a proper darting man. He's appreciative of good darts, whether that's from himself or his opponents.
100.
Although he could do with having a look at his flights. It looked like they've been chewed up by a wasp.
By a wasp?
180.
I think Paul Nicholson's the bottom of a hamster cage is probably more fitting.
60.
There you go. There's the chewed up flights. Dennant looking to take flight in this leg as he makes it 4.
81.
And no more. Have you had a flight chewed up by a wasp, Matt?
Funny enough,
100.
never, no.
Second
180.
maximum of the leg. And Denon is on for a potential 11 to break the throw and to put him on the cusp of 2 wins from 2. But look at this by way of reply.
180.
It's a maxi marathon.
Matt, you require 60.
They're absolutely buzzing up there, aren't they?
This would sting.
Game shot on the 5th leg, Matt Denon.
He's buzzing, Matt Denon. He leads 3-2 with the break. He is making his nectar and then some there.
6th leg, it's Matt to throw first. Game on.
Just when he needs it, he's absolutely flying. A 12 darter,
140.
followed by a 140 with the throw. He's making his move at the most crucial time of the match.
Look at the Matt Denon snarl.
80.
He is in pure business mode here.
20.
That may feel like it's been chewed up by a wasp.
95. 100.
However, just a solitary ton there after that second slack visit has opened up the door here for Lee.
80.
But he can't take advantage of that fact. And so Denon here looking to pull ahead of steam.
100.
Leads himself first to a finish. How handily can Cox leave this?
100.
Leaves himself on
Matt, you
something.
require
But it's
141.
Denon first go. 141 for the match. Treble 19 would have given him a data double 12.
89. Lee, you require 146.
This to save it. It's Hail Mary time on double 13.
133.
He couldn't find the match saver. Matt
Matt, you
Denon
require
now
52.
looking for the match winner.
Game shot.
And he
and the
gets
match,
over the line.
Matt
Matty
Denon.
Denon, a sprint to the finishing line at the end of that one. Really good performance, a couple of 180s, giving him the opportunity to break the throw of Lee Cox. A 94.17 there for Matt Denon, enough to push himself onto 4 points, joining Tom Lonsdale at the top of the table. Coming up next, 2 men looking for their first victory. Kevin Edwards, David Davies.
Welcome back. It's the halfway stage of the evening, so we're now a quarter of the way through Group B. We're going to have a look at the results so far in a moment, but just tell us what you've made of what you've seen so far.
I think Lee Cox is probably one of those players that just seem to always run into something. He seems to always find a way to find drama within his games. Even on that first game when he beat Kevin Edwards, it could just never does anything easy. I never feel like you're going to get Lee Cox come up and just blow someone away 4-0. He seems to get drawn into that drama and into that meat of the game, and it was just unfortunate for him there that when he got drawn into it this time, Mighty Dennant found a couple of 180s that separated the two players and cost Lee Cox his first defeat.
Yeah, Dennant, one of the two players that have won both of their games. The other one is Tom Lonsdale, and it's been another good showing for him this evening. He's really made an impact this week, hasn't he?
He has. I think across Group A, he didn't quite make the impact. He had that big splash with that 113 average, but we didn't see anything in terms of the consistency from him. That's what we're seeing tonight. He's starting to really gel his whole game together, and he's looking like a real contender. And when there's 3 places available in this group, he's looking like one of those players that are very likely at the moment to be getting through. He's already got 4 points on the board. Maybe another 4 will put him in contention, which is only another 2 wins from his remaining 6 fixtures.
Indeed, Lonsdale looking likely before the night. You said another player was looking certain, and he's living up to that billing, isn't he? Matt Dennant, really good stuff, just showing the experience and the ability that you said he's got.
Yeah, and I did question, I said, why is this guy not got a tour card? Because I rate him very highly. And I think we're kind of seeing that as we're watching him play today. Yes, there's so many flashes of brilliance, like that turnaround against Lee Cox and the ending of his first match as well. He's finding ways to win these games, but there's moments where he's inviting the other player in, where he's missing 4 darts or 5 darts at the back end of a leg. He missed a big number in order to get darts at doubles. And when you're playing on the Pro Tour and you're playing those sort of professional players, you don't get that return visit. He's just got that extra return visit here, and I think that's what he's going to need to get through this group. And I think he's going to get through this group quite convincingly. He's certainly living up to the billing.
Yeah, sitting pretty in the table, which we'll take a look at now. And the 2 players that are about to play next are the 2 players on no points. Now, it's only 2 games, but it is a quarter of the way through this group. How big is this game between Edwards and Davies coming up?
It's not the end of the world. It's not vital. Group B, you're never out of it. David Pallett's the one I always go to because I was in that group that week where he lost 4 games and then still qualified because he won 4 on the next day. So you're never out of it on a Group B. But you certainly want to have a minimum of 2 points just to try and keep it within a bit more reasonable distance where you don't need the other results to go your own way. So quite an important game, but not the end of the world.
Right, there is a familiar face in action next week, somebody who made a little bit of history here at the Super Series. Can you guess who? Well, here's a clue. Yeah, it's a bit more than a clue, wasn't it? Did you get it? It's Fallon Sherrick, of course. She's back here at the MODUS Super Series after hitting that 9-darter last time she was here, the first female ever to hit it on TV. She's part of a lineup next week that looks pretty handy. Look, she's a standout name, but there are a few of us on the list as well.
I'm glad you revealed that as well because I wouldn't have got it from that clue. But yeah, there's some really good names on there. Martin Adams, it's good to see him playing back darts again after the personal issues that he's been going through in his life. So really excited to see him back on the hockey. Steve West, someone who's had so much success down here, but he's in a very, very tight Group B. Possibly one of the best Group Bs I've ever seen there with Danny Laubier, former Wheatley winner, and Robert Thornton, who just can't win a week down here. But I'm sure he'll tell you that this is going to be the one.
Yeah, do tune in for that week. But, of course, stay with the action here at the Super Series tonight. 5 games left to come, and the first one is that battle at the basement of the table. One of these players is going to get off the mark. So let's get it on. Davis against Edwards in the company of Edgar and Deacon.
Thank you, Murphy. Right, here we go. Game 6, a battle of players who ply their trade in the ADC and the World Seniors as David Davies takes on Kevin Edwards. Both players looking to get off the mark for their respective campaigns. 2 defeats and 2 to kickstart their night. David Davies ran into one against Tom Lonsdale, losing 4-1 despite a 93.21 average. And then worked his way back into the match against Matt Dennant, having gone 2-0 down in the blink of an eye, but was on the wrong end of a last leg decider. Jack Garwood, as you can see there, was the man in the middle officiating things.
66.
Calling out the scores instead of talking about the darts this week.
95.
A man who enjoys talking about darts is Matthew Edgar, and he's made his way, raced his way back down to join me.
Yeah, I didn't want to miss a moment of this one. I think this one is one that will set the tone for the winner. I think David Davies has been showing some good things today and it's probably been a little bit unfortunate to run into what he has
60.
so far. And if he is going to eye up an opportunity, this will be it, you'd feel, to try and get those points on the board. But Kevin Edwards has shown that he's no slouch. Winner on the
59.
Seniors Open Tour.
$45. $54.
Slip of a couple of visits there, but it's not really been punished by Edwards. Needs another one of them just to give himself a sniff of a finish. A 140 will leave him on 161.
140.
Exactly what he does. And so David's
David,
here,
you require
142.
142.
To take out this opening leg. Not going to happen this time.
$60. Kevin, you require 161.
So what can Davies
85.
muster here? 82
David,
to
you
take out
require
this opening
82.
leg. And up we go for double top.
42.
Just grazes over the bar.
Kevin, you require 76.
So Edwards 76 to take out this opening leg against the throw. But that means he has to move across. Treble 13 was the intended destination
36.
to try and leave himself on double
David,
16.
you require 40.
And so Davies back up for tops for the opening leg. Now chasing fives.
30.
Chasing all over the board, and he may find
Kevin, you
himself
require
chasing in the
40.
game if Edwards can find the break and go 1-0 up himself. It's not a nice angle, has to move across. Goodness me, what can he see of that?
1.
Well, that last dart conducive of the fact that he could see nothing at all.
David, you require 10.
The only thing he had there was the bottom right-hand corner, and that's what he tried to hit there, which is why it came so far away. But David Davies might only get one more dart of the double. He's only just squeezed that in the big three.
No score.
I think what we've got here
Kevin,
is
you
a case
require
of two players
39.
who are aware of the situation. They're aware of the fact they've got no points on the board. And they're aware of the opportunity that is posed by
Game shot
playing
on the
against
first
each other.
leg. Kevin Edwards.
Kevin Edwards lands the first blow.
Second leg, it's Kevin to throw first. Game on.
Head down after the thumbs up when he hit the 180. Did you ever play that at school? Heads down, thumbs up?
55.
No, didn't play that one.
$83.
Yeah, that was year 4 at school.
100.
All over.
Sounds like you used the time wisely.
Well, David Davies here is a part of the ADC
40.
set up, very much so. Big couple of weeks coming up for the ADC. The Evolt National Finals is coming up on Saturday the 28th and Sunday the 29th of October. The draw is going to take place at
60.
midday tomorrow. 263 players all told will be participating in that particular tournament, playing for a prize fund of £19,500. That's estimated next year to be in around the region
58.
of 40 to 50,000. Just scanning through
44.
a lot of the names that are going to be in it. The likes of Terry Jenkins, Tony Wood, Adam Mole's going to be in there.
100.
Leighton Bennett.
$54.
Also got the women's finals coming up as well, haven't we, in a couple of weeks' time?
Yeah, that's going to be taking place on Saturday, November the 18th, a 12:30 start.
140.
That action is going to be actually live here at the Live Lounge in Portsmouth. More information on that in due course.
135. David, you require 80.
It'll even be streamed live here on the MODUS Super Series YouTube channel.
40.
It's 53 for Kevin Edwards
Kevin, you
to double his
require
lead.
53.
This is to put David Davies halfway towards
Game
3
shot on the
defeats and
second
3
leg.
tonight.
Kevin Edwards.
It's just not happened for the Welshman, and Edwards now halfway towards the victory post.
Even when it has happened for
Third
David
leg,
Davies,
it's
his
David to throw
opponents just
first.
found that bit more.
Game on.
And at what point does it then fester in the mind? And at what point does your body
38.
just say to you, it's just not happening, kidder?
I think we're seeing that moment unfold before our very eyes. Look at David at the back of the stage. He's starting to become a little bit dejected, a
135.
bit disconnected.
I suppose in these moments it must feel like the lights are on, but nobody's home.
115.
In these moments, you just become too aware. That's the problem. The best place to be is when the mind's just empty.
60.
As soon as you start to play bad, you become aware of everything, how the referee's standing, how the lights are, what the room's doing, who's where, what's happening, any noises.
81.
Everything becomes so alert.
Don't be surprised.
136.
That's excellent counting from Edwards. I was going to say, don't be surprised if potentially we see the old 140 to leave a bogey, because we've seen that for many a player on the World Seniors Tour. We should tar them
100.
really all with the same
Kevin, you
brush.
require 170. $100. David, you
David
require
Davies might need to take this,
167.
or he might be getting the brush.
$60. Kevin, you require 70.
$19. Ample.
45.
Grazes the 25
David,
wide,
you
so
require
David Davies back for
107.
107 to bring it back to 2-1.
Biggest moment of the game so far. And that doesn't eliminate his possibility. 9 scored, leaves him 98. So he's got 2 options. Treble 20 would be the more logical one for double 19.
88. Kevin, you require 25.
It doesn't go, and so Edwards comes back for 25 for a 3-0 lead. It's double 8. Can he just nudge it across the barrel?
9.
Davies may have felt that his fate was already
David, you
sealed
require
there,
19.
but he gets a reprieve. It's double 8.
Game shot on the
He's
third
back in the
leg.
match.
David
He's back
Davies.
to 2-1, and just a little bit of a oomph and an outpour of what must be the pent-up anger
Fourth
that
leg,
he's
it's
feeling
Kevin
inside.
to throw first. Game on.
But one thing about David, and I really like about him, is he
60.
keeps himself at such an equilibrium. Doesn't get too high, doesn't get too low. You'll not see his mood or the way that he conducts himself change, whether he's 3-0 up averaging
44.
105 or 3-0 down averaging 76.
$140.
We may see that demeanour change, though, the longer this run continues for him. Defeat here would leave him rooted to the bottom of the table. And you'll see those people in those 3 qualifying positions, Lee Cox, Matty Denning and Tom Lonsdale, all with a game in hand.
100.
Just having a look at the Kevin Edwards action there. He sets his dart up to attention, so he brings the aim, and then as he releases, there's a lot of shoulder there, isn't there?
60.
Sets himself up, pulls back, and a bit of a twizzle of the shoulder.
97.
And there's that little bit of frustration starting to eke into the game of David Davies.
81. Kevin, you require 104.
6 darts for Kevin Edwards. Putting himself a leg away from the match. He can just set this up.
88.
Does so beautifully. The double 8. Putting himself a leg away from the match and his first points of his Group B campaign here on week 11.
136.
But he knows that he can ill afford a miss
Kevin, you
now with
require
Davies
16.
settling himself up on tops.
Game shot
It's
on
a
the
miss
4
that doesn't
flag.
come.
Kevin Edwards.
And Edwards leads 3-1, and Davies now having to hold just to stay in the contest.
5th leg, it's David to throw first. Game on.
Now, we like to do our prep and our research on players, and that usually means going onto a
96.
particular search engine to search up the players' names. As far as David Davies is concerned, the first thing you find on a search engine is the first ever Brexit minister.
44.
Well, if he carries on like this, exit will mean exit. It's must-win territory for him now.
95. $123.
What happens when they Google your name, Matt?
They get a treat.
100.
Especially when you click images.
That's where I delete the internet history.
58.
I've actually just had a look at Matthew Edgar and images.
100.
Slightly disappointed.
I like what I see over there. That looks pretty good.
60. David, you require 110.
110 to bring it back to 3-2. He's got 6 from here.
$53.
So nice bit of time on his hands for the first time tonight here for David Davies.
60. David, you require 57.
Wants to play himself back into this one, but another wayward dart. Tops. He got there in the end.
37. Kevin,
On
you
an
require
outside
156.
opportunity here for Kevin Edwards, but this is one of the chances that have a low probability of hit. But he set it up for something.
140.
There's
David,
a
you require
significantly
20.
improved ratio. This has to go now for David Davies. The urgency is there. It's double 5. One more dart to save this match.
Game shot on the 5th leg.
Save the
David
match he
Davies.
does. Big last dart. Kevin Edwards would have been just thinking at the back of the stage, let me have a shot. Let me have an opportunity.
6th leg, it's Kevin
If
to
you
throw
want an
first.
opportunity, Kevin, you're going to
Game
have to
on.
go for it again. Back to 501 points. And this is a good point for me, I think, to chuck Henry Deacon under the bus, who decided to start Googling himself.
140.
And it's clearly something he's done before, because it come up with suggestions. It even has Henry Deacon darts. Why would you search
58.
Henry Deacon darts?
Because if you Google my name, it doesn't come up with me. If you Google my
55.
name, it comes up with an industrialist born in 1822. In fact, there's actually a character in the program called
60.
Eureka called Henry Deacon, and according to Google, it says Henry Deacon is a master of all trades.
Well, that's enough about hearing about Henry Deacon. Let's see
100.
if Kevin Edwards can get the job done here, because he is cruising to victory. David Davies unable to hit a treble in his first 6 darts. And when you're playing against the darts, you're always going to be up against it if you can't get something on that front 6 exchange.
100. $45.
This is the moment. If David Davies is to get back into this game, it is now. Needs another.
81. Kevin, you require 161.
So 6 darts for the match here for Kevin Edwards to complete the job.
65.
He's himself 96 upon his return.
Might be pondering the bullseye here.
130.
Good thinking, good use of the board. The 25
Kevin,
would
you
left the
require
2 darter as
96.
well. Found the bullseye. Gives him the more sizably easier task, but
Double 9 would have won it for
87.
Edwards. And so
David,
Davies
you
to take
require
what has been,
72.
it has to be said, a bit of a marathon match all the way to a last leg decider. 72 is what he needs. It's going to be a solitary dart at double 10. Huge moment. His night, his group could hinge upon this one dart at double.
52.
And he is not up to the task.
Kevin, you require 9.
It gives Edwards one more match-winning opportunity at double 4. 2s.
5.
Well,
David,
Davies
you
has been given
require
another
20.
opportunity. He's been given another life. And this time he cannot pass it by. That was in the numbering.
Game shot on
That's
the 6th
in the
leg.
double.
David Davies.
And this marathon game, which is straggling the best part of 20 minutes, is going all the way to a decider.
Seventh and final leg. It's David to throw first. Game on.
No reaction. Just business from Kevin Edwards.
the head will be very full of disappointment, though. It'll be
60.
full of feelings that he should have had this done. He had a good little bit of distance. Wasn't able to turn that chance and that time into points.
58.
And now you get that sense of nerves.
$140. 60.
Well, David Davis is using Ryan Joyce flights. He won the Pro Tour today. It feels like at the minute David Davies couldn't win a David Davies lookalike contest if he was the only entrant.
100.
Well, he might be about to win this darts game because he's got a sizable lead here. That means Kevin Edwards needs to fill
140.
it off, and he's unable to on this occasion. Still advantage David Davies. Still got the advantage of throw, and he's got the advantage on the scoreboard as well.
54.
Just a little bit more to do. You can't play for time in this sport. You can't go on my head. I'm going to hold the football up in the corner. Or just dance around the outside of the ring.
100. David, you require 147.
We've already seen a 147 today. Can Davies win the game by getting us the Crucible finish? It's not to be. He can't get past the first red.
90. Kevin, you require 143.
And so it's Edwards' turn to win it with a sizable finish. David Davies had a glance over. He's thinking, not again.
111.
And it was a wire of a double 16 away from happening again.
David, you require 57.
What a fine effort that was. The battle of the two players at the bottom of the table.
37.
Who have yet to pick up a victory takes
Kevin, you
another
require
twist
32.
and turn.
It's Super Series Shredsville at the Live Lounge. It's getting twitchy.
Game
But it's
shot
no
and the
more
match,
nervy for Kevin Edwards as he
Edwards.
gets over the line by 4 legs to 3. Disappointment on the face of David Davis, who once again has to disconsolately shake the hand of his opponent and referee. That's 3 defeats from 3. And a 4-3 loss for David Davies to Kevin Edwards. A 78 average puts him on the board for the first time tonight in terms of the points tally. Coming up after the break, Tom Lonsdale and Lee Cox go toe-to-toe.
Welcome back to the action here at the MODUS Super Series, where Tom Lonsdale is looking to carry on a perfect start to Group B. He's won his first 2 matches and he's chasing a hat-trick in his 3rd game of the night. The opponent is Lee Cox, who's got 1 victory and has 1 defeat. But if he gets a 2nd win here, he will be tied at the top with Lonsdale and Matt Dennant. So this could be quite a big game in the group, and guiding you through it, it's back to Matthew Edgar and Henry Deacon.
Thank you very much, Chris. So, Lee Cox looking to make it 3 players tied at the top of the table.
First
Tom
leg, it's
Lonsdale
Tom
looking
to
to keep
throw
up what has
first.
been a perfect night so
Game
far.
on.
He's continuing to kick on here at the Super Series. Is Tom.
134. $100.
I did mention with Chris Murphy at the halfway point of the
100.
action that I always feel Lee Cox gets brought into battle somehow. You never feel like he's going to go off and beat anybody
60.
4-0 and just make it quite easy. It must be a really hard watch for like his partner and his family and his friends who
140.
want him to do so well and know what he's capable of, and just hoping that he can put it together for a full campaign.
96. Tom, you require
got the ability to win a week.
127.
He's already done it once. Didn't have to replicate it a 2nd time.
55.
But he goes for the ball anyway, so he would have attacked it.
100. Tom, you require 72.
There's 72 for the opening leg. It's double 16.
40.
It just
Lee, you require
nudges the outside wire.
145.
Triple 15. Lee's tops for 145.
Game shot on the
That
first leg.
is
Lee Cox.
masterful from Lee Cox. And he lets out those pent-up emotions as he breaks in the opening
Second leg, it's Lee to
with
throw
a
first.
stunner.
Game on.
The last starts he thrown in the last game was at a 146, which was an attempt to try and save the game.
140.
You watch this now. I've said Lee Cox never seems to make it easy on his family and friends and gets drawn into it. He's going to go win 4-0 with like 117 average or
83.
something now, isn't he?
You know darts. Mate.
60. $125.
I'm really impressed with Tom Lonsdale tonight, though. Much more improvement than what we saw from him in his Group A campaign.
140.
Really starting to show us what he is really capable of. And he does have that very rare feat.
60. Lee, you
Playing
require
in
161.
County darts team at the age of 14. Very unusual that you see
65.
such a young player playing on that county scene. Tends to be sort of a nature and a vibe and an old school feel about it. They have to be of a certain age.
Lee,
and
require
they
96.
don't like to play those people that don't have that massive proven form.
56. Tom, you require 133.
He's seen a talent from young, and it's been partly because of precocious finishing, but he's not going to take out the 133.
77.
And so Cox back for tops
Lee, you require 40.
to lead 2-0 and to really
shot on the
put
second
himself in
leg,
the
Lee
ascendancy, averaging 96-97. That's a 16 darter on the back of a 12 in the previous. Cox 2-0 to the
Third leg,
good.
it's Tom to throw first. Game on.
He
100.
was eager to the oche there at the beginning of the third leg. Tom Lonsdale. You mentioned the fact that he played county darts at the age of 14.
95.
What were you doing at the age of 14, Matthew Edgar?
81.
I can't say.
140.
I played the regional heats at the England Youth
58.
Table Tennis Championships, age 14. And I also played Smee and Peter Pan.
$24.
None of that surprises me.
Oh, that spat out. That nearly
38.
hit him on the rebound. He tried catching it. And the thing is, that was his throwing hand. He could have easily have caused himself injury there.
See, I think to encourage that, we should have a rule that if you
58.
catch the dart after a bounce out, if you can get it before it touches the floor, you get to throw it again.
96.
That isn't a rule, by the way. I just want to clarify. That is just the way my brain works.
81. Tom, you require 128.
128, and this is just to get him on the board. Treble 20 would have left the ball. And so Cox looking
63.
for a second ton topper of this match. He's 2 from
Check
2 from the
88.
doubles. If he can
Lee, you
get
require
a go at the end of this
103.
103 combination, he's going to get a dart. At tops,
63.
just above the wire.
Tom, you require 40.
And so Lonsdale gets his go at the top of the board. He moves inside,
Game shot
but
on the
finds
third
the double
leg. Tom
10
Lonsdale.
to bring the deficit back to 2-1.
Fourth leg, it's Lee to throw first. Game on. $55.
He really has stepped it up tonight, hasn't he, Tom Lonsdale?
41.
Showing us that form that's picked him up one of those ADC national titles. The form that beat our
100.
back-to-back two-time reigning Super Series champion Luke Littler.
100. 45.
Just a word for our referee, the man in the middle, Jack Garwood, doing a superb job.
60.
There he is. Doing a superb job officiating the matches this week. Not an easy job, that, of the referee.
140.
There he is, up close and personal. And we've got some great referees who
60.
do their thing
Lee
here.
require
Charlie Corsafine,
161.
Paul Hinks. Owen Binks occasionally officiates as well. Cox couldn't find the
99.
161, but he's in a really good position in terms of this leg. To move himself into a 3-1 lead
85.
and
Lee requires 62.
to haul the seemingly untouchable Tom back in.
30. Tom, you
Well,
require
this will change
155.
every dynamic of the game and particularly of the group. But the 155 isn't going to go.
58. Lee, you require 32. Game shot
When
on
you
the
talk
fourth
about the
flag.
dynamic
Lee
of the
Cox.
group, we've got a situation here where the three players that are at the top could end up being cutting away from the two at the bottom of the table,
Fifth
Kevin
leg, it's
Edwards
Tom
and
to
David
throw first.
Davies.
Game on.
Especially if Matty Dennant was to go and
100.
beat Kevin Edwards in the next one, there'd be a little bit of a gap appearing.
Max the kick off the leg for Cox.
180.
And now Lonsdale is under all sorts of pressure here.
96.
Big last start. But now he's got to hope Cox comes up dry.
$95.
We have had a tweet in as well from Steph, who I believe is the partner of Lee Cox, saying you're absolutely right. We
96.
do go through it for sure. It's always harder for the partners sat at home because they're non-effective. They can't do anything about it. They can just watch and hope
59.
At least for Lee, he's up there, he's in control of it. The partners tend to get more nervous than the players.
54. Lee require 167.
167 for the match. Down for treble 19. Not going to get a go at the ball. Lonsdale was left on
99.
155 in the last leg.
Tommy require 155.
And it's that scrappage he's trying to deal with again, but once again cannot find the finish. And so
95.
Cox comes back for 68.
Lee require 68.
Double 16 for his second victory of this
Game
group.
shot
He
and the
finds
match.
it.
Lee Cox.
And this time with no drama. Just the one dart required to get him over the line and get him onto 4 points from his 2 games so far. Steph, he made it a little bit easier for you that time. You didn't have to go through the ringer. An 87 average for Lee Cox, a 4-1 victory. And we move into our final 3 fixtures, where we may see the table cut in half. Matt Dennant takes on Kevin Edwards.
Yes, more ceilings to shatter, more worlds to conquer, more blazers to trail. Fallon Sherrock, the star of the show next week here at the Super Series. Make sure you are tuning in for that. But the star of Group B so far has been Matthew Dennant. He's looking to carry on a perfect start to the Group 1 unbeaten record just gone. Tom Lonsdale's defeat to Lee Cox, ending his perfect start. Dennant looking to make it a hat-trick of wins here. Kevin Edwards, the opponent, buoyed by his first victory of the night. Let's get the action underway.
Indeed we will, Chris Murphy. Indeed we will. Kevin Edwards, Matt Dennant, game 8 of our evening. It's a final one out of the night for Dennant. As for Matt, we're at 12:30 in the evening. He's only halfway through his
First
day's
leg,
work.
it's Kevin to throw first. Game on.
So Edwards with the darts here. Victory here would mean that the top 4 would all be on 4. Dennant here has got a great opportunity
60
to really stamp his authority. To basically say to the rest of the field, I'm into Saturday.
60.
You guys just play it off against one another.
And the danger is here that we may know the lineup for
60.
Saturday night a lot earlier than we expected to. Because if Matt Dennant is to beat Kevin Edwards here,
65.
we're going to find that we could chop the table completely at that cut-off point.
Just to clarify, that last dart
140.
didn't count because it didn't penetrate the bed. Just remember, the point has got to touch for it to count as a scoring dart.
134.
Not that that looks like it's going to be very relevant at the minute because Dennant replies with a 2-trouble visit.
$100.
So Edwards back for 141.
58. Kevin, you require 141.
Finish, which a player we're going to see next week famously hit. Treble 19. And now double 12.
129.
If that went in, could we have pretended it was a 9?
Well, I've done that before, so I can't really say no one else can.
45.
Nothing beats
Kevin, you
impersonations,
require
does it?
12. Game shot
Double
on the
6
first
found for
leg.
Edwards,
Kevin
1-0
Edwards.
leads.
Second leg, it's Matt to throw first. Game on.
Slow start for Dennant. But he's been here before, and then at the back end of games has
100.
rattled in some of the biggest stuff we've seen from him so far.
$45.
Yeah, just a reminder that Fallon Sherrock is going to be returning next week as part of a bumper cast here at the Super Series. And nobody
60.
can forget what she did last time she was here. That 9-darter, a moment that we all remember.
And if you didn't remember, I'm sure we're going to
140.
remind you about it plenty of times.
$140. $28. $96.
Well, there we go. Well, there's a couple of glasses of water, but only one case.
$100.
Now, what that means
Matt, you require 105.
is that means one of the players hasn't brought up spares, which means we could
57.
potentially go into Callan Ridd's territory, who famously recently completed a PDC Pro Tour match with just 2 darts because he didn't have any spares. And he broke one of the points during the match.
100. Matt, you require 48.
Double 16 to level up. Now, Is that first
Game shot
start
on the second
awkward
leg, Matt
for the
Denham.
second attempt at double? No is the answer. Level we are 1-1. Now, I'm assuming
Third leg, it's Kevin to throw first.
because
Game
Matt's
on.
glass is the one on the right of the screen there, I'm assuming that's his setup on the right side. And maybe it's Kevin that's going out with the bold strategy of hoping
95.
that nothing goes wrong and it's going to be all right on the night.
Kevin Dowling's coming up in our lineup next week. He'll be joining us in Group C. If you remember,
58.
he took a sandwich tub up on stage for his spares and repairs.
My favourite one is Shane McGurk. He actually brings what
140.
feels like a personalised pencil case up on stage with him. Basically, Kevin Edwards is going a la Lightning McQueen and saying,
100.
I can do this on my own. I don't need no pit crew if any of the equipment goes awry.
$121. $134. Kevin, you require
Even
145.
despite that visit, Edwards has 6 starts on 145 to open up a 2-1 lead.
65.
He's himself 80.
$59. Kevin, you require 80.
There we got a glimpse of the arena here at the live lounges. Well, that's a bit of a slip. That's 15 scored. And he was looking for another one to leave the bullseye, but it's 2 big misses. And this has become a bit of an endemic mess.
30. Matt, you require 150.
But he isn't going to be punished in this turn. But he's only going to
64.
get 2 at a double, and that's assuming he
Kevin, you
hits a big
require
number.
50.
That was the safest of 18s.
34.
And that is the merest of grazes
Matt,
on the
you
double
require
16.
86.
The double Kevin's just missed is
Game
the
shot
double
on the
that
third
Dennis
leg,
just
Matt
hit.
Denham.
Clean off the barrel and in to break in lead 2-1.
Fourth leg, it's Matt to throw first. Game on.
You can play around with your flights all you want, Kevin, but if it's gone wrong, you can't go back off stage and fix it. Because that is the rule, isn't it? If anything's disturbed,
96.
you can't nip off out the arena, can you, and get any spares, can you?
Officially, you're not supposed to leave the stage, but you can ask for
100.
dispensation to do so. And in the situation of I don't have darts on me, might be a special enough reason that you're able to do so.
180.
A bit like when a snooker player has to replace their tip.
60.
But just looking at the point of the game here, this is the point of the game where Matt Denham really put his foot down in the last one. Had a couple of 180s.
84.
And got himself over the line, picking up the victory against Lee Cox. It looks like it's that time again where Matty Dennant's going to touch the turbo.
85. Matt, you require 141.
He's got a couple of goes on 141.
64.
There will only be a dart at the end of this next turn at double, depending on how this first dart lies. And he's got
75.
the luxury of time.
Matt, you require 77.
Edwards way back in this leg. Double 16. And just like the last leg, can just nudge it off the barrel.
45.
For this time to differing results. Not that it's going to matter in this turn.
$60. Matt, you require 32.
For 3-1.
Game shot on the fourth leg.
Off the
Matt
barrel
Denon.
in, and Denon is a leg away for making it 3 from 3.
Fifth leg, it's Kevin to throw first. Game on.
This is the last time that we will see Kevin Edwards for the night.
100.
His 4 fixtures will be fulfilled. And if he's not able to turn this one around, he'll be vacating us with 2 points on the table.
43.
Lee Cox and David Davies coming up next, and then Matt Dennett will be back for his final fixture, taking on Tom Lonsdale, which will be the final game of the evening.
45. 96. 100. 59.
So Denon comes out dry there, and so Edwards can take the ascendancy in this leg. Finding a big score.
140.
Top 40 needs him first to a finish. Dennett needs a couple of trebles and we'll start on the 19s.
95. Kevin, you require 116.
So 6 starts on 116 to keep himself in the contest. Double 18 just has the little tiptoe up to see whether it was in.
Game shot on the fifth leg.
And a
Kevin Edwards.
116 from Kevin Edwards keeps himself alive in this contest. He needed to pull something out the fire. He does
Sixth
exactly
leg, it's
that.
Matt to throw first.
But he now has
Game
to
on.
break Dennett.
Which is not
140.
going to be an easy task when he finds a couple of trebles on the opening exchange.
And when that first dart lies like that, it's a bit of a disaster dart for him.
82.
Recovers well with the last.
Just a treble to throw for Dennett, and he'll become uncatchable.
60.
Unable to do so. Which provides a small margin of hope for Kevin Edwards.
55. 60.
He's just able to slowly serve this one out at the moment. There's a stroll to the finishing line.
It's like Novak Djokovic being 5-1 up
68.
in a third set at Wimbledon. He knows that he's going to have time just to finish the job off, but you don't want to then mess about. He's not messing about. Sing it, Jack!
180.
And now he leaves 61 for the match.
$60. Matt, you require 61.
Double
Game shot on
16
the match.
completes the
Matt
job for
Denon.
Matt Denon, and that makes it 3 wins from 3 for the scholar, who is top of the class, is top of the group. So he beats Kevin Edwards by 4 legs to 2. His night ends on 2 points, having secured a solitary victory against David Davies. As for Denon, he still were perfect. Couple more games to go for us. Lee Cox and David Davies is our penultimate matchup, and that is following the conclusion of these commercial messages.
So 2 more games to go here at the Super Series on the opening night of Group B, the penultimate match of the night on the penultimate week of the series in terms of qualifying for Champions Week. And it's a meeting between Lee Cox and David Davies, who hasn't had the night he would have hoped for. Always a way back in Group B, and maybe it starts now. Let's see if it does in the company of Henry Deacon and Matthew Edgar.
Yeah, thank you very much, Chris. So to the penultimate match of the night, Cox and Davies both looking to finish on a high. David needs to win this game, you sense, to stand much of a chance of progressing through. Although, of course, it is possible, even if you do lose all 4 of your opening games, to go through on the second night. But it feels highly unlikely.
It does, on the fact that we've got 2 players that are struggling for points here. Kevin Edwards as well. Only picked up the 1 victory, and that was against David Davies.
First leg, it's Lee to throw first. Game on.
For you to be able to lose 4 games and still qualify, it's still possible, but you kind of need the other results to sort of go your way as well. Lee Cox wins this, he will
30.
be 4 points clear of Kevin Edwards. And that is your final qualification place. Top 3 go through. So it would put Lee Cox in a very strong position overnight.
58.
As far as what the odds compilers say in this particular contest,
45.
Lee Cox on at 4-7. David Davies, the outsider, at 6-5.
And I don't think we're getting much of a move there on that, because I don't think David Davies has really played the sort of darts where you'll say, I expect that he'd go through the card losing all of his matches. He's played
60.
a lot better than that would suggest. It's just those moments, those key exchanges, he's lost the key battles.
$108.
A thumbs up from David.
43.
He's come down with a
David,
contagious
require
disease which is known as
167.
gilding fever. They're going to set up here.
97.
He's just looking to empty the engine and hope that what's left in the reserves is enough for him to get a victory. An ironic roll of the eyebrow from Lee Cox to say, okay,
David,
we are getting going at this
70.
point of the leg, are we? Where were you a couple of minutes ago? 1 dart at tops.
30.
He's going to come back. Has got that luxury of time.
$65. David, you require 40.
To use the luxury of time successfully. It's an ideal... Wow, that's a low dart from David Davies.
Game shot on the
but
first
a great
leg. David
adjustment across the
Davies.
board. He can breathe a sigh of relief. It doesn't let Lee Cox come back to the board.
Second leg, it's David to throw
Break a
first.
throw at the earliest opportunity.
Game
He
on.
needed to do it at some point in this match if he was going to go on and win it. Now Lee Cox is faced with the task of trying to get it back somewhere, and there's not too many somewheres in these short format games. It is only best of 7 first to 4,
100.
which in modern day sort of international standard darts is classed as a short format.
60.
Well, here we can see the angle that the darts enter the ball from an overhead angle. And as you can see, David's darts stand up to
100.
attention. But that first up being just over the treble bed wasn't too bad for him. It has to be across Lee, though, there with that particular lie. And chases down
99.
for 19s. Doesn't like that. But he knew he had to stay there to try and leave a finish.
60. 100. $140.
I was just saying how the friends and family of Lee Cox get put through the ringer. Doesn't seem to do things the easy way.
60.
Played himself
David,
into a
you
position
require
here where a win
101.
against David Davies would have put him probably about 70% of the way, if not more, to Saturday night. David Davies is double 12 away from a 2-0 lead, and he
89.
will be back. 3 darts in hand for the double six.
Well, it's been a bit of a equator between the two players so far in this game. There's 20 points of difference in terms of the
77.
overall averages so
David,
far.
you require 12.
And if Davies can sink this double six, he sinks himself
Game shot
into
on
a
the second
2-0
leg.
lead.
David
and he
Davies.
sinks his teeth into this game.
Third leg, it's Lee to throw first.
Spoke
Game
about
on.
the ringer that he puts his family and friends through. I'm just looking back through his stats, not just for today,
60.
but through Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday. Lee Cox's average is significantly lower than anything he's produced so far this week.
56.
His worst average tonight was mid-80s. He's now dropped below a 70 in a game that could have made this whole group feel
100.
so much easier for him and put one foot in the door of Saturday night. Instead, he's going to get brought back into the pack, where David Davies would keep his hopes alive of getting through as well.
Theoretically,
60.
because this is the crossover fixture, there is absolutely nothing to stop David Davies leapfrog Lee Cox by the time this fixture came to a conclusion tomorrow night.
100.
Really does need to dig deep here, Lee. It was a massive fixture in the terms of the complexities of this group.
100.
Great fun on the last dart, but it may well be insurmountable.
And you get that sense from Lee at the moment that he's also aware
45.
of how important this fixture could be to the destiny of this group, and that's where this frustration's coming from. He's thinking, why now?
However, he's
68.
got to take advantage of what's been a little bit of an off leg by David.
$100.
Decent enough find on the last, leads himself first to a finish. David needs a couple of trebles here. First dart sat beautifully in the bed.
97. Lee, you require 96.
Double-double would be the approach here. 2 doubles that he likes, the 18s.
56.
And the top's just on the top.
David,
Why
you
the tops
require
is a target that
120.
David Davies would love to be having a throw at. Needs a treble to earn the right.
100. Lee, you require 40.
So tops for Cox to hold his throw.
Game shot on the third leg. Lee Cox.
Exactly what he does, and he keeps his hopes alive, but he has to break Davies at a particular juncture, and it is
Fourth
the
leg, it's
Welshman who
David
has
to
the
throw
darts here
first.
in the fourth.
Game on.
Sometimes when you win a leg, doesn't matter how many darts it takes, it can just
65.
give you that encouragement.
$60. $82.
Well, after this bumper session ends, we're going to be giving you another double dose of darts tomorrow. Group C,
58.
we're going to be concluding together, and then We're back for Group B this time tomorrow. Well, you can if you like, but I won't be there.
60.
And I think this game shapes what we're expecting to see. Just getting really
40.
drawn into this and just sort of trying to get a feel and a vibe for the action, and it just feels edgy.
60.
Both players aware of what this means. One's trying to save it, the other's trying to open that door to Saturday night. They're playing for very different reasons right now.
What's going on in the mind of Lee
140.
Cox? Because he's just beginning to tick over a little bit here.
Pass. Could be anything right now.
$64.
In these moments, these are the moments that define the characters.
100.
When you
David, you
feel
require
like you need to do
170.
something, can you deliver? Can you produce?
Can Davis produce the fish? Cannot find the second treble. And so Cox is going to have to find something quite surmountable himself. He needs to
105.
find a
Lee
103
require 103.
to level up at 2-1. Otherwise, he could find himself in some real peril in this match. Treble 17 leaves in double 16. That could
Game
well
shot on
be
the
a
fourth
skin
flag,
saver
Lee
for Lee
Cox.
Cox. A 103 to level up at 2-2 when it looked like if he didn't get, he'd find himself 3-1 behind. He gets the break back he needed.
Fifth flag, it's
His
Lee to
game
throw first.
very much back
Game
on
on.
at 2-2.
And I asked
85.
in that leg for a character to stand up and be countered. And Lee Cox hits his moment. The big 103 finish. Sometimes the
60.
biggest finishers, the checkouts of the weeks, aren't always the 170s, the 167s that are just the big ones in terms of the numbers. Sometimes it comes down to the moment and the importance at that time.
55.
And for Lee Cox's week, that could be huge. When you come here for a week and you're taking part in a Group A, you don't want to be here all week and not get through to Saturday
134.
night.
You want your efforts to amount to something.
$100.
David Davis just in the background limping up some practice throws. Very much the modern weapon of a modern dart player. Otherwise known as the limbs.
60.
And we could have some limbs in here on Saturday night. You can join us. Scan that QR code. Sends us to dartshop.tv. We'd like a bit of limage in the live lounge.
100.
£2 deposit. And don't forget as well, Champions Week, November the 4th. The big date in the diary. And we've got a fun-filled evening as well for your entertainment. We've got a little bit of a
100.
Super Series party going
Lee
on.
require 161.
More about that in the next leg. Cox can't find the 161. Davis looking for the 147.
83.
Davies, 147.
David, you require 147.
Where does that sound familiar?
$44. Lee requires 78.
Tops for Cox.
58. David, you require 103.
Well, it was a 103 that I gave Lee Cox so much credit for in the last leg. David Davies has got the exact same equation. Won't go.
55.
So Cox has an
Lee
opportunity to put
requires
himself a leg
20.
away from the match. And a complete turnaround in a game he was 2-0 down in. Double 5.
10.
Both nudge the wire, but neither
David, you
can find
require
a way
48.
in. And so Davies here to get the break back and to put himself on the hill. And to put Cox through a little bit of hell. Big dart at double 10. Big
28.
miss for Davies. And
Lee
that's
required
somewhat
10.
been the story of his night so far. And the story of his night has been the opponent punishing, but Cox can't
8.
do that. And
David
by hitting a
required
free, he's
20.
left himself on double 1.
I feel that first start was very safe from Lee, just trying not to come inside. Like that.
18.
Exactly the same situation. They've both
Lee
left
required
themselves on
2.
double 1. It's double madhouse.
It's 2-2, and they're both left on 2.
No score. David, you require 2.
And if you don't laugh, you're going to cry. And this may well determine whether David lives or David dies in terms of qualification.
Game shot on the 5th leg.
Big.
David Davies.
Big moment. Lee Cox is incandescent in the background.
6th leg, it's
If
David
David
to
Davies
throw
would have gone up
first.
and missed that, that would have been a very questionable play because he had
Game
the dart
on.
in his hand where he could have bussed it and gone back to double 10. Instead chose to leave himself double 1. Worked out with hindsight that everything was okay. He's broke the Lee Cox throw. Lee Cox nearly turned this one
41.
around. But David Davies is not producing the stuff that would be resistant of a... Is it a second wind or a third wind of Lee Cox?
140.
Yeah, he's had more wins than the fan section of a curry shop.
100. $95. $84.
This whole game just been played with tension.
96.
It certainly has been David Davies' best
23.
opportunity to pick up a win so
Lee
far
require
tonight.
170.
And it certainly would have been in this leg. He had the advantage of throw. Lee Cox has outscored him despite the fact he's thrown less darts.
70.
Oh, what a last start there from Lee Cox. He was boxing himself back into the corner again.
And so the square ton to send us all the way to a decider.
129.
129
Lee
there from
require
Davies
100.
means that there is pressure on this ton for Lee. He's going to get 2 at tops to send us the distance, and now double 10 doesn't
80.
go. Davies gets his chance
David, you
to win his
require
first game of the night.
124.
124.
And not just win his first game of the night, give himself hope still of getting through to Saturday night. 2 well-thrown darts. No reward on this occasion.
50. Lee
Nothing
required
feels
20.
safe with Lee Cox on the doubles at the moment. He's only checking out at 13%.
$10.
It bends the wire, but it doesn't find a
David,
way
you
in.
require
And
74.
this 74 would seal David Davies his first win. It's going to be one dart at tops to eventually get over the line.
Game shot and the match.
An ironic
David
look
Davies.
to say, why did it only come at the last? But David Davies is off the mark. He gets his first win in his final game of the session against Lee Cox by 4 legs to 2. It wasn't a classic whatsoever. That 103, it felt like may have stemmed the tide in Cox's favour, but Davies gets over the line, sealing a 4-2 victory. Next up, Well, Tom Lonsdale takes on Matt Dennant. A victory for the Scholar will see him top of the class with maximum grades.
Welcome back. The final match of tonight's action features Matt Dennant, and he's looking to complete the full house of victories on the opening night of Group B. 3 wins so far for the Scholar, who is top of the class at the moment and will be looking to stay there. However, Tom Lonsdale, his opponent, if he gets a victory in this curtain closer, then he can draw level on 6 points. So a really big game to end the evening's action. One more Tungsten Tango to talk you through. Matthew Edgar and Henry Deacon.
Yeah, thank you very much, Chris. It was around about this time 12 hours ago that myself and Matthew Edgar were calling our first game of the day. That was over in Group C, and that was James Richardson 4, Steve Brown 3. And since then, it's felt like that we've seen more legs than a spider in a nuclear reactor. One more game for us as Tom Lonsdale takes on Matt Dennant.
First leg, it's Matt to throw first. Game
and this
on.
could be a crucial matchup because the fixtures flip tomorrow. And so it means this is going to be the first fixture tomorrow. It's going to be the first game of tomorrow night's session.
60.
So by the time anybody else plays, Matt Dennant conceivably could be through because remember, every player's on 2 points. And so we can categorically tell you now that 10 is going to be enough to go through.
$140. 30.
Well, the way it's broke down, a clean card here for Matty Dennett would put him 6 points clear of the cut-off. And the first job for the players, yes, everyone wants to win the group, but the first job is to make sure you get yourself through to Saturday. That is the priority, whether it's first, second or third. So
78.
Dennett could put him 6 points clear of the cut-off point with victory here.
$60.
And for the rest of the field, they're probably also willing Matty Dennett on in this one because
100.
you kind of want someone just to run away with it if you're
Matt, you require
battling out for those
120.
places.
But that's a couple of strays for Dennett, and so it presents Lonsdale with the break opportunity on the back of that max. Just looks a little
30.
bit irked there, did Dennett.
Tom, you require 73.
And so solitary darter, double top
Game
for
shot on the
Lonsdale.
first leg.
Gives
Tom
him the
Lonsdale.
break and gives him a 1-0 lead.
Second leg, it's Tom to throw
He's
first.
had to do the
Game
long
on.
shift tonight, his Tom. He played the first game of the evening where he averaged 102.62 in beating David
93.
Davies by 4 legs to 1. He now has to end the night a little more than 3¼ hours later against Matt Dennett.
82. $108.
Gives it some gumption as he finds his second max.
$100. $58. $60. Tom, you require
It is the back end of
170.
games where we see the very best from Matt Dennett, and you feel like it's going to have to be that again because Tom Lonsdale is looking good here for doubling his
134.
lead. Leaves a double after just 12. And once again, comfortably running over that 100 average. He just keeps finding these spurts.
59. Tom, you require 36.
Double 18 for 2-0.
Game shot on the second
That's
leg.
a
Tom
13
Lonsdale.
darter for Tom Lonsdale. He's 2-0 to the good. He's looking good.
Third leg, it's Matt to throw
And
first.
depending on the size of
Game
victory, Lonsdale can leapfrog Dennett to the top of the table overnight. He currently would do.
85.
If he can win 4-2 or better, he will be the man who occupies
96.
the summit at the end of the evening's action. Sure, there's only one outcome.
125.
He's always going to hit single 5.
55. $140.
But he's beginning to find his range after a sluggish start, is the scholar.
57. Matt, you require 151.
6 on 151. Triple 18, the next target, the next port of call.
135.
That leads him double 8 after 12 to half the arrears.
99. Matt, you require 16. Game shot on the third leg. Matt Dennett.
Didn't need an invitation, back to 2-1.
Fourth leg, it's Tom to throw first. Game on. 140.
He just seems to be someone who really grows into a game, Matt Dennett, which you start to think would struggle with this sort of format, which might be why we've not seen him have as much success here at the Super Series as he has, say, at maybe the Challenge Tour, where the format's just that little bit longer.
134.
Kicking into gear now. And this is a big passage of play for Lonsdale, who had raced into a 2-0 lead in next to no time at all,
82.
but has found himself pegged back. Has found
93.
himself reeled back in, and Dennant's first to a finish in this leg. Although Lonsdale with a couple of trebles can leave it the handy of the two.
100.
Even that leads
Matt, you
himself
require
a
149.
single treble to bullseye combination. May not get a go. Treble 20 next call. And so Lonsdale to open up a 3-1 lead. Looking at 121.
$85. Tom, you require 121.
Down for treble 17. And now the bullseye.
85.
Well, handy little lead
Matt,
there.
you
It could have gone
require
anywhere. It's gone in
64.
a section to leave him quite a profitable double. But will he get a go?
44.
He will.
Tom, you require 36. Game shot on the fourth leg.
Big
Tom
start, big
Lonsdale.
moment. Tom Lonsdale's up to the task. He leads 3-1, and Dennant now on the hill.
Fifth leg, it's Matt to throw
He
first.
started the evening with a big
Game on.
performance, did Tom Lonsdale, 102.62 in defying David Davies 4-1. He's now in the final game of the session, averaging
58.
96.96. 3 out of 4 when it comes to the finishing. But you sensed it needed to take
59.
something special to beat Matt Dennant. A big performance has come for Tom Lonsdale.
87.
A reminder as we draw towards the conclusion of our coverage here this evening on Sporty Stuff TV and the MODUS Super Series
61.
YouTube channel. If you've missed any of the action, then you can tune into highlights on the Super Series YouTube channel, as well as other bonus content, including the
180.
Bullseye Challenge.
180.
Anything you can do, Matt, I'll do just as well.
$60.
Dennant first to a finish on throw. Lonsdale needs a treble here.
57.
Doesn't go, doesn't come.
Matt, you require 116.
And so this 116 to pull one back. Shuffles across. Looking for that treble 20, which would have given him a data double 18.
55. Tom, you
This
require
would
144.
be some way to win it. But the 144 isn't going to go.
128.
But he's going to do the next best task.
Matt, you require 61.
This has to go. There is no two ways about it. And it's going to be one dart at double 4. It
57.
moves inside. And Dennant
Tom, you
knows the
require
significance
16.
of that miss. And now it's Lonsdale's go at double
Game
4
shot and
as
the
he
match.
seals a
Tom
4-1
Lonsdale.
success. That is going to move him to the top of the pile overnight. Lonsdale inflicts a first defeat to the group upon Matt Dennant, and in the process is the man to beat overnight. An average just under 95, 3 maximums, 4 out of 6 when it came to the finishing. Matt Dennant was 3 from 3 to begin the night, but was beaten in the last by Tom Lonsdale by 4 legs to 1.
Yeah, great way to end the evening, and it's been a really good evening, hasn't it, Matt?
Oh, fantastic evening. So many stories, so many twists and turns. At one point, we was looking at just a couple of results that could really have ended this group and really sort of chopped it in half. Instead, it's now wide open.
Yeah, it really is wide open. Yeah, there have been some pivotal moments tonight. We'll take a look at the results in a moment, but that last one, it does make it more open than it might have been, because you were saying in comms, if Dennant wins that, then he's basically through, isn't he?
And I think that's probably what the group actually wanted. You don't want two players sort of mixing it up at the top end of the points. Lee Cox, the game before as well, had so many darts at double. I think he only hit 2 from 18 in that game. And if he would have converted that and actually gone on to win that match, then again, he could have been cutting away from the chasing pack. He'd have been on 6 points as well, and pretty much 1 foot in Saturday night.
Yeah, well, let's focus on a few of the players' performances tonight then. Starting with Lee Cox, because he had a indifferent night, if you like. Got a victory against Lonsdale himself earlier on that stopped Lonsdale from going through the card in the end.
Well, the first thing you've got to do is you've got to be positive for Lee Cox and say he's done the minimum requirement. The minimum requirement, 4 points, to give yourself a genuine, real opportunity. Players that get through on 2 points after the first day, you say they've got a chance, but it's a slim chance. Lee Cox has a genuine opportunity. He's still well and truly in the race, and he's got the ability to get through a group like this. I expect him to do so, but he's got to sharpen up those doubles, especially in those key moments. I've mentioned on commentary today, we even had messages from his family fully in agree that he puts you through the ringer. He never seems to do anything the easy way, and once again, he had an opportunity tonight to do it the easy way. He was just a double away from putting himself onto 6 points, and he's ended up going the hard road again.
Yeah, Matthew Dennant seemed to be doing it the easy way, didn't he? A really good start to his evening. Won his first 3 matches. Really good stuff from him tonight overall. But how much of a disappointment will that last result be for him?
I don't think it will be. I think when we say about Lee Cox doing the minimum requirement and getting on to 4, Matty Dennant's on 6 points already and shown enough signs today that he knows he only needs to get to 10 points. That will more than likely be enough to get you through a Group B. And he only needs 2 wins tomorrow, so he knows he's only going to be 50% on those games, and he knows he's probably got the beating of the players in this group. Ran into a big one in the end there again. Tom's been so impressive tonight. He just keeps getting better every single day. And one of the key things I picked out about him was his doubles percentage at nearly 50% on Tuesday and Wednesday. He's continued that tonight, but he's backed it up with some scoring power.
Yeah, so he matched Matt Dennant in the end in terms of wins and indeed points, and that means that he is tied at the top of the Group B table. Lonsdale actually on leg difference top of it. But as you said, Lee Cox, minimum requirement, sitting pretty. He's in 3rd place. That would get you through tomorrow. How about the other 2 at the bottom, David Davis and Kevin Edwards? Which one of those has given you the most cause to think that they can force their way through?
Well, the main thing now that comes to that is that head-to-head when them 2 play each other tomorrow. That's the key. Whoever wins that head-to-head is still going to have some form of opportunity. I think the loser of that head-to-head is pretty much eliminated and gone. So that's their key fixture, but they're still going to have to pick other bits up off other people as well. There's still plenty to be done, but no one's out of that, and that's why I love Group B.
Yeah, it is going to be some race to the finish tomorrow night. It's also going to be a good race in Group C tomorrow afternoon. Now, that group started earlier today, or yesterday if you want to be pedantic about it, but David Schlichting, well, he's an entertainer and he could be entertaining on finals night in a very good position, but note of caution, only 2 go through and there are 2 players just 2 points behind him.
And 2 players that arguably have been producing the better stats or the better performances, Scott Taylor and Jarno Bottenberg, I think are potentially the 2 people to go through this. I think David Schlichting kind of needed to go through the card and get those points. Yes, he's sat pretty at the moment, but there's a lot of darts to be played, and he's got some big hitters in that group. When we look at people like Andy Hamilton, bottom of the table, I don't expect he's going to turn up and play the same that he did today, because what we've seen from Andy Hamilton over the last sort of 12 months is not the Andy Hamilton we've seen. So we can put that down to a bit of a blip, and I think he's going to cause a few problems tomorrow for the rest of that group.
Yeah, we will find out. Reece Robinson already there, of course. He won Group A. 5 players will join him. We're not sure which yet. I will ask you for just a couple of names for now, and we'll get more tomorrow.
Well, I'm going to stick with Matty Dennant from this group. I'm going to stick with Lee Cox, and I'll also give you Scott Taylor. There's 3.
There we go. Buy 2, get 1 free. That is value from Matthew Edgar. And he'll be back tomorrow talking you through the action again. A double session of darts, and we will have all our finalists in place. So don't forget to join us, and don't forget that the first part of the day starts on the MODUS Super Series YouTube channel exclusively. That's 1 p.m. for the start of the Group C action. Then we're on Sporty Stuff TV from 3 p.m. and 10 p.m. for the conclusion of Group B. We will see you tomorrow.